You're not screen sharing,
2016
right?
NSL 炉石国
I'm
际
gonna
大
use
师
it
赛
now.
震撼开启
Okay.
，12
Just let me know
位
when you
国
screen
内
share
外
in case
炉
it
石
screws up
顶
again.
尖大
You're
神
good.
将为了荣誉一决高下。而本次大赛的赛制可谓让观众
Hi guys,
惊喜
welcome
又
back.
惊
Let me just go
讶
ahead and mute the stream because they're speaking Chinese all of a sudden. This is why we're doing, this is kind of like a show match slash test stream just to make sure everything works. And it's a good thing we're doing it because things are not going smoothly so far. But anyway, what this is, before we get started, before we talk about everything here, is as you can see on the graphic below, it is, actually let me just go ahead and guys show you that instead. So what it is, the Celestial Invitational is a Hearthstone League tournament organized by Celestial, NeoTV, and DouyuTV, with Twitch and TempoStorm providing the English broadcast. It pits some of the best players from all over the world, and they go against each other with $60,000 on the line. In particular, there's 8 Western players and 4 Chinese players. So, we're counting Eloise as a Western player. And players are first placed in groups with a round-robin format where each best-of-17 match is worth $1,000 US, and the top performers will advance to the playoffs where $30,000 is up for grabs. The match format will change every week, so the best deck builders will have an advantage. And week 1, which is this coming week starting tomorrow, will be, I believe, standard with last hero standing. Today, however, is a show match, a particularly interesting show match where there's 4 players, single elimination, and $1,000 on the line, winner take all, and the first to kill themselves wins, Lorinda. So that's going to be pretty interesting. And the Celestial Invitational, it basically starts right now, every day. It starts at 4 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central European time, and we'll have rebroadcasts running directly afterwards. So if you can't really wake up at that time, you're not really around at that time, then we'll run the rebroadcast afterward. Make sure that no one spoils it on Twitter, I suppose. And keep in mind that after this is the first week, it's going to start this week, but we're going to take a break for 2 weeks because of BlizzCon and opening week for BlizzCon, and then after that, daylight savings will have happened, so it's going to be adjusted for 1 hour. And before we get started, I want to thank Twitch for sponsoring the event. Make sure you check out Twitch Prime, which gives you access to no ads, cool in-game items like the Toronto pre-skin, and a free sub each month. If you have Amazon Prime, it's already free. Just link your account. And also make sure to follow TempoStorm for more content in the future. And we finally gotten all that straightened out, Lorinda. And we're getting ready to get into this show match. And it looks like 2 of our participants are actually casting the show match to start out with Celestial there. Or start with Tiddler there.
Looking forward to how this is going to work. If you've got the other 2 guys casting your match, it's going to be kind of amusing. They're going to get, obviously, to... I don't think they hold any punches a lot of the time in the Chinese scene. Like, if they think that the other guys made a small mistake or something, they'll pull it up, even though they've got to play against them later. So, entertaining to see them on there. And killing yourself is something that we've seen mentioned from time to time. People usually go with Warlock, I think, in that sort of format. But it's best of 5, so they've got to find 2 other classes as well. I believe it is Wild as well. So,
and by the way,
all the cards in Hearthstone, those
by the way, these
entertaining combos.
Sorry to cut you off. By the way, these are 4 Chinese players who are going to be in this tournament throughout, starting with Lovely Chuk. I know a lot of you probably can't read the Chinese that was on the screen there. We're starting off with Lovely Chuk versus, who is teamless, by the way. He used to be on Newbie, and now he's teamless. He a while ago he won the EU versus CN Championship, in which he beat Colento in the finals, and he basically the first person to win for China in those types of events. So certainly he's made a name for himself. And he, let's see, Breath and Jumbo are casting. So he's going against Jason Joe, who is one of the BlizzCon qualifiers for this year. He actually used to play a lot on NA and kind of snipe. There's Jason Joe, by the way, on the screen. He used to, earlier in the year and last year, he used to snipe a lot of the top players on ladder and and be one of the top finishers in the ladder every single season on the America server. Now he actually lives in China and has qualified for BlizzCon. Our other 2 players are going to be Breath from Celestial, who has qualified for BlizzCon, and Zhongbo from Team Tongfu, who won the Gold Series Grand Finals earlier in the year.
Yeah, he's done everything but qualify for BlizzCon. Like, he had to qualify originally for the Grand Finals late this year, or early this year, late last year, and then he came 2nd and 3rd in the 2 qualifiers for BlizzCon. So you can do very little more without qualifying, to be fair. But yeah, we are going to get Jason Joe and Lovely Chuk in this first one. As you say, both of these guys, incredibly accomplished players. I think we have got 4 of the very best Chinese players here. I know that's like a custom meme. We're going to say, oh, the 4 players we've got are 4 of the best. But, I mean, these are genuinely 4 of the top 6 or 7 in China.
Right. The only other... It's hard to find other people who have better qualifications for this as far as, you know, an invitational is concerned, but... Yeah, they didn't invite, you know, the Chinese streamers. They invited the best players in China. The only 2 other BlizzCon qualifiers, who are Hamshiro and Omega Star, they're kind of a little bit more unknown, even in the Chinese scene. So it makes sense to go for Lovely Chuk, who is a champion, and the same thing goes for Zhangbo.
So I think they're both playing Druid, Warlock, and Warrior from the look of that caption I quickly saw. Warlock is obvious, you can live tap. Warrior, I wonder if we'll see Cursed Blade. That seems
right.
That
That's
a lot
actually
of sense.
By the way, this is wild format, so they are allowed to use any sort of, you know, nonsense that they want in order to kill themselves. Makes sense to go for wild format because you want all the cards necessary. Because I don't even know what is the strategy behind this, trying to kill yourself.
So you basically, I mean, Warlock used to have a combo, and I've been trying to remember what it is for like 24 hours now, and I can't. But obviously, you lose the 2 health every time you tap anyway with live tap, so that's a good start. But there are other things you can do as Warlock. I'm sure we will soon see it. I think it's going to be obvious, and I'm going to kick myself. Warrior, obviously, you have that Cursed Blade, so you can attack into your opponent's stuff if they play any. And I did wonder if anyone would bring Priest, where there's somewhere to keep healing your opponent so they can't do it.
Right, that's actually something to think about as well. And looks like we are... Wait, he has Sacrificial Pact. He must have some way to start killing himself.
Play Jirax's Sack Pack face.
So it looks like Jason Joe is going for... He has a taunt. I'm guessing the taunt is to protect the Acolyte of Pain so he can draw as many cards as possible. Maybe he wants to fatigue himself out before his opponent can?
Yeah. Let's see. I've just got the class order. They're both playing Rogue. Jason Joe's playing Warrior, and obviously you can see there Lovely Chuk is playing Druid. So yeah, you could fatigue them out. It's got so much card draw. It's obviously combo of some sort. He's obviously hunting for something that's going to get to the cards that let him kill himself.
Right.
And the Warlock's just going to be Dark Bomb face, etc., etc.
All right. Also, okay. So again, this is kind of like a half test match, half test broadcast, half show match. Having it's hard for me to keep up with all the the audio going on, but I have turned on the music back up, which is kind of a cool ditty. I would say so. If you could
minimize the thing that I'm looking at right now as well, because I'm seeing it twice, that would be amazing. So Jason Joe is starting off with that Shield Bearer. Again, the strategy there, not entirely known, but it's going to counter some of the stuff. And it's all gone dark. So Warlock will just life tap and shoot. Perfect. That is perfect now.
Okay,
awesome.
Cool. All right. Apologies for all this, guys.
Again, we're just getting this all out of the way in this tournament. The winner of this tournament does get $1,000. So even though we're saying it is a bit of a test or a show match, it's important to these guys to try and get that first 1,000 in the bank. After today, every single day will be a best of 17 in unknown, well, not unknown to you guys, but different formats every day or every week. Best of 17, $1,000 per day on the line. Going to be on Tempo Storm every day. We've got Reynard and Eloise representing the team, so it should be exciting for those guys as well.
Yep, absolutely. Some of the best players, in the Western scene as well. Just like you have the entire G2 team. We have Sixo, we have Dog, a few others that I'm forgetting right now as I'm clicking around trying to find some stuff. But looks like we have some issues with the players, I would say.
Right, it's not just us that are having a first day setup.
Right.
Going on.
This is why we're doing this.
The same thing. And I actually think it's a genuinely good idea to do this as well. A lot of tournaments sort of leap in there expecting everything to work. And if there's a problem, then they're in real trouble. Of course, there's not usually a problem, but it looks like in China here, they have got some issues with their setup.
All right, so while we're waiting for that, looks like someone from the Horde is coming out to help him out. But we can go ahead and look at the players for you. So Group A is going to be Breath, Eloise, Life Coach, RDU, Sixo, and Jongbo. And Group B is going to be Dog, Jason Joe, Kalento, Lovely Chuk, Rayned, and Tice. So
that's
pretty
a good lineup.
Yep.
Looking forward to. I mean, and it's a creative lineup. You've got the players in there like Reynard. You can go through pretty much every single one of them, but obviously there's Reynard, Life Coach from opposite ends of the innovation spectrum. They look at different ways of doing stuff. And again, just to reiterate, there's going to be wild formats and wild formats with like bands with sets missing and such like as well. So the guys are going to have a lot of cards to be creative with, but not going to be able to just flavorly just copy something. They're going to have to really work at this each week.
Right, and initially the idea was that we were going to have the community and the players pick, but they've actually decided it so that the things are a bit more smooth. Week 1, which is this week, is going to be Last Hero Standing plus Standard, and then after 2 weeks, after a pause for BlizzCon, it's going to go to Last Hero Standing plus Wild, except the GVG set will be banned, and then week 3 it'll be Last Hero Standing plus Wild with the next set banned. Then the week 4, Last Hero Standing plus Wild, just straight up. And then finally, just Conquest Standard. So, pretty standard stuff in the final week of the season. And
except your brain has probably melted by then from playing all the wild cards for 4 weeks.
Right. And all of the matches, by the way, are $1,000. So, they have to take every single match seriously. And the top 2 from each group advance. So, there's double incentive to basically, advance out of the group. Both in terms of, you get the money for winning each individual match, but if you get to the playoffs, that's 4 players and $30,000. So there's a lot on the line in that case.
Yeah, and a lot of the we've seen it in Team Story and some other big Chinese events. These guys like to make these tournaments top heavy. They haven't announced how the prize pool will work for the top 4 exactly yet, but it's 30,000, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the winner get at sort of 12 or 15,000 of that.
Okay, I was gonna make a joke about how the tournament organizers didn't specify which who was going to kill themselves, whether it was the players or the spectators. I was going to say that the players were winning. But anyway, we are getting into the game, and looks like he's going to go directly for live tab. Again, they're trying to kill themselves. This is a kill themselves as fast as you can for $1,000 tournament.
So Finley's an interesting choice when you're trying to kill. I want to see what Jason Joe's combo is here. Everything in his deck is drawing cards. Or
does Rampage?
taunts.
Can you buff the opponent? I've never even thought about that, but I'm assuming that you can. And yep, the no attack from Jason Joe. Just want to confirm, right? Because I see things like Shadow Bolt. I'm like, did we get the format wrong here? Because why would you want to kill anything? But
Zombie Chow's a really good idea, by the way. Zombie, I was going to mill. Self-mill, but Zombie Chow just heals your opponent as well.
Right. So there's a couple interesting strategies in this, and it's just crazy to think about, right? Because on the one hand, you want to have the warlock hero power to mill yourself, but if you end up milling your opponent as well, then they can possibly die quicker.
Right.
So there's a lot of weird things going on. I can't even wrap my head around it. I feel like I'm going to say something just very stupid in a moment here. It's like, because your brain is automatically conditioned to make sure that your opponent dies. So all these like weird strategies. Yeah. Like for instance, Lovely Chook is going through his deck. He's obviously playing out these Worgen infiltrators and these stealth minions just so there's no way for Jason Joe to be able to interact with them. But right. Could he have just tapped to fatigue? Or by the way, the Ancient Shade is coming onto the board. What an interesting card. What obviously a great card to put in this as well.
Yeah, it's just interesting. You automatically do yourself for 7, and if you're trying to mill your opponent or mill yourself or whatever, hang on, you do get a card, so that's not good.
Right.
Okay, so sensing some demons.
Oh, he can he can play Jiraxis, but then he doesn't get to tap any longer after that. It feels like these are kind of reverse cycle cards here for Lovely Chook. He just wants to get them out of his hand, these stealth minions, so that he can cycle into what he really wants in order to kill himself. Yep,
that makes sense. Well, he needs that sack pack, so that means...
Wow, okay, chat, thank you, chat, very much for helping us out. So, Jiraxis turn 9 sacrificial pact yourself for lethal. That is perfect. So yeah, so it looks like we have Lovely Chook. He's put his opponent basically on a clock here, but if Sacrificial Pact is discarded, that would be huge. Curse Blade coming into the hand, and this is part of the reason why you want those stealth minions, so that Jason Joe can't kill himself with the Curse Blade.
Yeah, this is really clever, and Lovely Chuke's not even playing the warrior deck, but he has the counter to it. We did see Jason Joe also going with a similar thing where he had the shield bearer, right, in the other game. So,
right, yeah, to protect for the opponent from killing themselves. This is so insane.
Yeah, the sack pack combo was in the original hand as well for Lovely Chuke in the first game, but he now has to tap into it. And there must be other ways to empty your hand, but obviously not. These guys are playing for $1,000. They will have put more time into it than us. And yeah, he needs to stop losing the combo. And this Cold Light Oracle was well timed here, just to give a chance to just ruin the game.
Yeah, but doesn't discard the right cards there. It was St. Stevens that was discarded right now, and Shade of Naxxramas, which is obviously not even really useful. It's just a cheap stealth card to use. Looks like Lovely Chuke is going to continue to kind of cycle through his deck. And there is Sacrificial Pact, so Jason Joe is on a clock. 3 more turns and Lovely Chuke just wins the game.
Yeah, and Jason Joe knows coming. He's not playing Warlock in his lineup. That's interesting to me. I thought this would be the main deck. Lovely Chuke just keeps playing these stealth minions, emptying his hand out. It must be surprisingly hard to empty out your own hand looking at this lineup.
Right, you feel
Another
like
7 going to be taken here.
Right, you're kind of playing against, Mill in a certain sense, and Jason Joe goes with the correct play of tapping last because he wants to get the curse in his hand. He needs to kill himself quicker, right? He needs to kill himself quicker than he is. Alright.
Got to race killing yourself. At most 2 more cards now for Lovely Chuke, and at this point, he needs to work out if there's something that's going to happen to him where these minions could maybe attack, but I can't see how that could ever be a good thing.
Right, and it looks like these power whelmings are just to get cards out of his hand, right? He can go ahead and use these and make it so that he's not going to overdraw. Not that he really cares about overdrawing, but he's going to put as much stuff on the board as possible. Is there anything that comes to mind as far as what the impact of having minions on the board will do? Maybe some sort of Yogg effect? I can't really think of anything right now, whereas having minions on the board would like help or hurt your opponent.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something as well and can't, but they're aware of...
There's the curse, by the way. Wow, it did 14 because he has the curse blade! Okay,
wow.
Jason Joe, he's really far down!
There is something, because Lovely Chuke's not playing minions like Loot Hoarder and Acolyte that we're seeing, and I think you'd think that would be staple if there wasn't a reason to bang things onto your own head, so...
He's going to continue to draw. If he draws the curse, he wins the game. Let's see, so next turn, Lovely Chuke goes to 8 mana, and then Jason Joe can tap, but he won't... Oh, he will kill himself because of the Curse Blade. Wait, if you tap with the Curse Blade, you actually do more damage. Did it do 4 earlier? I didn't catch that. I believe it did, so I think Jason Joe just won, didn't he? I think Jason Joe just won, because he just taps.
I think so.
Unless Lovely Chuke can somehow kill himself.
Yeah.
Alright, Jason Joe's gonna go ahead, it looks like, and heals opponent with the Zombie Chow so that there's no shenanigans.
What's even happening?
Yeah, Lovely Chuke is all in on this Diraxis plan. There's nothing in his deck that kills himself other than Diraxis and Sacrificial Pact. And I believe that with his Curse Blade in hand, Jason Joe is going to be able to win the game before turn 9 somehow.
That's insane. I thought his combo looked slower than Lovely Chuke's, but...
When it does 14 damage to yourself,
yeah,
that'll speed up the clock real fast.
And he only has to do it once. I mean, there's 2 of them in there, of course, so plenty of things going on.
Was not expecting...
If Lovely Chuke can find a Zombie Chow or something here, he can dart bomb it and give 5 health to his opponent.
I was going to say, is he giving up? Of course he's giving up, because Jason Joe just has lethal on himself.
Yeah, just kills his opponent for those wins on his account. But it's a loss.
Jason, and then Lovely Chuke sitting there thinking, should I have put an Ooze in my deck? Should I? If you think about it.
Yeah.
Right, there's so many things you could do, and there's so much counterplay. Obviously, I think this tournament... I like this tournament having, being here for the show match, because if this happened over the course of a week, then you'd see so much counterplay, and I feel like this meta, if you can call it that, would be figured out very quickly. But just for this one day, there's all these ideas like, wait a second, I should have gone for the Ooze, I should have gone for this and that, and yeah, it's really funny. I wouldn't even thought of Diraxis Sacrificial Pact, but even that wasn't fast enough.
Yeah, Diraxis Pact, I think, is the one I was thinking of at the start of the cast, which I'm sure there's a Warlock combo I should know, and I can't remember it. I think that's probably what it was. I have no idea how you self-kill with a Druid. Like, I understand. I guess all of these classes can attack. They've got Warriors, Druids, Rogues. All these classes can bump into your opponent's minions. except if they're all stealthed, which they were. So that's obviously a strategy that makes a lot of sense. And when you're trying to build a deck like this, I mean, at this level, you're up against really clever people. You've actually got to build up the meta and then try and beat the meta without having ever seen it played.
And that's kind of the point of this entire tournament. You know, just having different formats every single week and not having real time to prepare, perhaps. We have seen Thais, you know, climb the wild ladder, so certainly there's certain players who are perhaps more prepared for this than others, but you know, in this particular circumstance, just every single week the meta changing will be particularly challenging for the players.
And the only thing they should really be able to do is avoid the obvious. I know when you're preparing for a big tournament with a new format in any card game, first thing you do is work out the obvious decks. The second thing you do is just go one level higher, and then you have to start thinking, how much work do I think my opponents are going to do? Are they going to go one level higher than that, or is one level higher than the obvious enough? And yeah, that's how this will pan out over the coming weeks. It'll be interesting to see who manages to get the level pitching correct over that time. And of course, somebody may just turn up with an innovative, amazing broken deck that just destroys everybody. That's also an option when several of these are going to be last hero standing.
Yeah, certainly. The last hero standing thing is really interesting because I know that the players had a huge input into that, and so it looks like most of them have decided to, you know, go for that particular format. I know I saw a tweet from Sixo the other day saying, you know, whoever wins the Druid mirror wins, but you know, this is kind of the players had their input into it, and Tiddler in the end was the one to make the final call. So
right,
you know, I wonder if it's one of those cases where it's kind of like be careful what you wish for.
I mean, the last hero standing and conquest differences are well documented, and the fact that they both have a downside is also well documented. But I think in a new format, if you want to put the emphasis on somebody making one really good deck in a new format, I guess last hero standing is the best. So if somebody does turn up with a deck that nobody else has thought of, they will just win the tournament or win that week's play.
Yep.
So I think that's good for last hero standing. And again, if you want to go with conquest, which is some of the other weeks, that is, can you bring things that don't lose? You know, don't bring the rubbish deck. So.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. But yeah, both players are continuing to sit here. I've decided that we'll show them our beautiful faces instead of Jason Joe and Lovely Chu. But
I mean, the players are torturing themselves. We might as well torture the chat with our mugs while they're waiting. So you can still see there at the bottom the players waiting to get into that next game.
Yeah, this is just kind of extended talk zone. Again, this is the show match. This is the test stream, so we're just kind of hanging out, having fun. Obviously, we can have fun even in the real streams, but
I'm allowed to have fun. Awesome. Yeah, I just keep saying I'm looking forward to it. It is something we have hardly seen in Hearthstone. There have been one or two small tournaments do it, but to see a tournament with this much money on the line with different formats is pretty much a first, I think, now.
Yeah, $1,000 for each match is pretty crazy. And even for the top players, you know, you really want to try and make that money.
Right, $1,000 for, you know, a week's planning and a day's work seems pretty reasonable. I think they'll be pretty comfortable with them out online. And they will get to play 5 matches each, so everybody should get something, you would think, unless somebody has an absolute nightmare. But
yeah, it looks like.
And then there's that massive prize pool they play for as well.
Mr. Horde Shirt is is on double duty right now. He's like helping out with what's going on. Apparently, this has become. We can't stress it enough. This has been a really good idea for them to go into to do this test stream because having some issues, obviously.
And you guys all know what the start time is now as well, so there's no excuse for missing the real stuff when it starts tomorrow at the same time.
Yep.
And
well, anyway, speaking of which, we should let you guys, just to reiterate what we said at the very beginning of the cast when things were going awry anyway, is that the cast starts at 7 p.m. Chinese time, which translates to, let me look at what I wrote down here, 1 a.m. Pacific time and 10 a.m. Central European time. And excuse me, that's backwards. That's 4 a.m.
It's
4 a.m.
1 p.m. Yeah.
Sorry, 7 China, 4 a.m. California, and then 1 p.m. Central European. And that's Tuesday through Friday. And on Saturday, we actually have 2 matches. So on Saturdays, it'll start at 4 p.m. Chinese time, which translates to 1 a.m. Pacific time and 10 a.m. Central European time. So it'll be 2 matches throughout the day, and we'll also be running rebroadcasts. So if you don't want to, be around at this time, you can go ahead and catch the rebroadcast and just kind of, close your eyes and plug your ears when looking at Twitter or something.
Yeah, please lend your support. If you do enjoy it, make sure to let people know about it. This is something that Twitch have kindly helped us with in terms of setting up. If people like it and enjoy it and let them know, we'll be able to do it again. And if people don't like it or don't let them know, even though they liked it, then we won't be able to do it again. So let Twitch know that you'll enjoy the service. Have a look at all the things that Twitch are offering, Twitch Prime and all that good stuff.
Right.
Try to support the people who are supporting you if you do like the stuff.
Yep.
As we are just waiting with this test match, we've got Tiddler talking to the other 2 participants there. That is Breath and Zhongbo that they're talking to. So,
yep, certainly. We can go ahead. I guess we can continue our theory crafting on today's match. Again, today's show match has nothing to do with the rest of the actual tournament itself. Today's show match is basically 4 players, winner take all. It's $1,000, and you have to kill yourself. And we saw Jason Joe do a very good job of doing that. And we should point out, as has been pointed out in chat, that he did get Finley turn 1 into Warlock Hero Power, and he also had both Ancient Shades plus the Curse Blade in hand. So it's going to be kind of difficult for him, I believe, to win pre-turn 9 in coming games.
Yeah, he does have all that card draw in his deck, all those loot hoarders, acolytes, and stuff. But even so, that felt like he pretty much drew the nuts in that game. And turn 9 seems like it should be good enough to get through with the sack pack stuff. I'm still trying to work out what Druid does. I mean, it can attack, but there must be an obvious card in Druid that we're missing here.
He might have just not really had time to... you never know if these players have prepared more for the upcoming week than this particular show match. Perhaps he just has the same exact strategy. Just draw as much as you can and get the curses in your deck.
Yeah,
in your hand. I mean, or something. But
get the curses in your hand. Just kill yourself for 7. I think that it looks like having a 7/4 is really... I want to see that mirror match if they have it at any point. Because the 7/4 on board with Curse Blade in your opponent's hand is actually going to be worse than getting the curse into your deck. So you're going to have to wait until fatigue and then draw a card and then get the curse before your opponent can kill himself using his Curse Blade.
Are there any Druid cards that actually... So Starfire you can aim at yourself. Naturalize doesn't really help. I was thinking of Naturalize for a second, but that just kind of helps your opponent.
Malygos Moonfire yourself?
Right. Malygos Moonfire yourself is a thing that you can do. The combo, as it were, you can living root yourself as well. So yeah, there could be just a reverse Malygos OTK. Essentially, just kind of kill yourself instead of killing them.
Jungle Moonkin Malygos as a Drake. Nobody can kill your minions because they're too busy trying to kill themselves, and then just hit yourself in the face. Wow, which is what I do every time I play Druid anyway. So.
Well, it looks like we're finally getting into the game. I think that the Blizzard developers are getting mad. They're like, no, we're not gonna allow this to work, and it's gonna just malfunction if you try to kill yourself. But it looks like we're getting to a Rogue versus Warlock game. We know exactly how this Warlock deck works, and so it's basically a countdown to turn 9 essentially, as long as Jason Joe doesn't make Lovely Chook overdraw.
So Jason Joe has Shiv own face. He's got lots of cycle again, so he is going with the card draw strategy all through the day. And he has a conceal in there, again paying homage to the fact you don't want your opponents to be able to do things.
Right. We can't really see Lovely Chook's hand, but the things that he's looking for are Jaraxxus and the Sacrificial Pact, and he has both. Okay, looks like we're gonna go for Shiv on his own face again for Jason Joe. And Jason Joe doesn't really need to worry about concealing his minions right now because there's obviously no weapon in Lovely Chook's, in the collection that Warlocks can use unless it's stolen somehow. But either on both sides, there's no real way to interact with the opponent. And it looks like Sprint is picked up, which is a huge deal. I wonder if Jason Joe's going for the fatigue plan.
I'm trying to work out what Clockwork Gnome does that is so good in a kill yourself deck. Because it's a really interesting addition, and it's been a while. I don't play much Wild, so it's been a while since I've seen some of these cards, but it seems like there's an obvious function for this.
Okay, well, we do see Lovely Chook's hand now, and there's a turn 8 Jaraxxus Self-Sacrificial Pact with the coin. So he has all that he needs. Now it's up to Jason Joe. Can you kill yourself before turn 8? He's gonna... Okay.
Possibly. Okay,
Here we
these
go.
top names do a thing.
Prep into eviscerate his own face. He's not... He hasn't seen everything in Lovely Chick's deck, so he doesn't know if there's some sort of Cold Light Oracle that makes him overdraw. And ironically enough, you don't want to overdraw something like Sprint that you can just use yourself to draw more cards than you would have overdrawn.
Yeah, you're trying to kill your opponent yourself before. You just hope your opponent doesn't die in the meantime. It also is so weird.
So, looking at Jason Joe, there we go. I was about to say, we have some help in chat in this as well. So, Jason Joe wanted to, I think, save the... I think he wanted to save these spare parts for, or save the preparation, excuse me, for Gadgetzin to mill through his entire deck.
Yep.
Looks like he's going to go for Backstab plus the Shadow Step, so that he'll have a much cheaper Gadgetzin for next turn. And so he can go 4 mana Gadgetzin and then kind of just cycle from there. Pick up the second Gadgetzin, which is pretty huge as well. And so I think that Jason Joe might be able to pull off a pre-turn 8 Suicide again.
Yeah, and wow. I mean, Jason Joe is pretty innovative, and he's also pretty strong. When he moved back to China, he won the first Gold Series he played, and he got back, I believe. It may have been the second he played, but I think it was the first. And it's not surprising to see him actually coming up with a decent strategy here. To be able to beat Warlock twice, who drew the combo, would be exceptionally... it would just surprise the heck out of me that he could manage to do that.
Yeah, that's
and maybe he
completely
thinks this is
insane.
true. He hasn't brought Warlock himself. Maybe he just thinks that his deck's now winning turn 8 instead of turn 9.
Alright, so it looks like he's just going to go for cycling right now. Does have the Cold Light in hand now, so you can go for the Brand Cold Light play later on. I wonder what is faster going. I guess... Well, okay, if you Brand Cold Light, that's obviously 4 cards drawn, but you can draw 4 with just 1 mana spells for a Gadgetzin, so either way, it's there's a lot of cycle that you can do, but Jason Joe actually needs to kill himself next turn, so I think that Lovely Chick actually has this.
There's a lot of 1 mana spells. Yeah, I think you're right. It looks like it's going to be too much. That's the 7 to 12 cards view on the right there. So it's going to be too hard, I think, to mill through, unless he's got some healing. Maybe he's got something he can heal his opponent with here, but it doesn't matter. Sack packed, so what can he do to stop that? Nothing.
Jason Joe needs to kill himself right now, or else he loses, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah, we've got to be really careful to not let this commentary get dark in this fun tournament. Right? It's very easy to slip into the darkest cast ever.
Yeah, Jason Joe's reaching for the sword. Here we go. He's done it. He is committed, Subaru. No, okay, just kidding. All right, so Lovely Chick, he doesn't even. It's hard to even know what he should be doing right here, right? Because he already has the pieces in hand. He's just kind of doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. And
he's getting rid of his minions in case there's something weird there, maybe? Or is he just showing what's in his hand? I don't even know.
I don't really understand, but I think this is going to go to Lovely Chick. His strategy is just extremely good, right? You just kill yourself turn 9, and it's so easy to get there. You have the Warlock Hero Power, you have Sense Demons, you have Cycle in the form of Mortal Coil. Yeah. It's just, it feels like you get there every time.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised that Jason Joe hasn't brought this. Like I said at the start of the cast, this is the deck that people have talked about, you know, Reddit posts and stuff. How would you kill yourself if you had to do it quickly? That sort of thing. This is always the deck that comes up. And Jason Joe just deciding it must be too inconsistent or too slow, but it doesn't look inconsistent or slow from where we're sat. And there is a Zombie Chow there, so that was a saving card that Lovely Chick could have drawn last game when he was cycling through. We didn't know what he was looking for. He was looking for that Chow, which would have stopped the tap from winning.
And there we go. Lovely Chick wins game number 2 by virtue of successful suicide. Goodbye, Jiraxis. You're a bit over dramatic when you die, but sure, I'll take it. And there you go.
But our world is still doomed, D2. No matter how.
It's still doomed. And Jason Joe is not too happy that he couldn't kill himself fast enough.
Right, he's going to have to find a way to kill himself even faster now. With the Warlock out the way, though, I think we'll now get to see the more balanced kill yourself decks, if that's even a thing. Suspect there won't be any nerfs to anything anytime soon in this format, but that did feel like it was the most broken deck.
Yeah, it seems like one of the better ways, other than, you know, the Warrior that we saw earlier. Obviously, the Warlock seems like it's the best. The Warrior seems pretty good as well. But as far as trying to kill yourself without, you know, knowing that your opponent's not going to kill you, it seems like the massive draw strategy is going to be working out best here. It looks like both players are going to be going for that coming up next year.
It's a complete and utter straight-up race. The only part of the strategy you might want is to not let your own auctioneer get eviscerated or killed in any way.
There's a thing. It's important to think about how you can possibly mess up your opponent too, because we saw Jason Joe last game. He went for the prep sprint because he didn't want to overdraw Gadgetzin. In order to kill himself, you need Gadgetzin, so you can't overdraw the card that draws you most of the cards, which is a weird thing to say, but it's certainly true. Jason Joe wants to be able to get to that Gadgetzin so that he can kill himself extremely fast. Basically, he wants to be in a situation where he has Gadgetzin and then conceals, and then second Gadgetzin conceals, and then he basically just wins the game the next turn. And if you can make your opponent overdraw Gadgetzin or conceal or even Shadow Step, which is a nice way to make Gadgetzin cheaper and get the double Gadgetzin on the table, then that could win you the game.
Yeah, the Shadow Step's going to be crucial for just keeping it out of your opponent's range. It means you've basically got 4 conceals in the mirror. I am so fascinated to see what this Abusive Sergeant is going to do.
It could be just, an
extra... BGH to kill your opponent's stuff without... I don't even know.
Well, you don't kill your opponent's stuff because you want them on the board. I think it's just to take more damage, potentially. I think he kind of just ran out of cards. So, or ran out of cards to put in the deck, so he just, I can Abusive Sergeant my opponent's stuff and kill it and, damage myself even more. You can even Abusive Sergeant something like, the
it's 2 damage
Shield Bearer.
Yeah, okay. 2 damage to face is quite a lot, I guess. Especially as we are now playing decks that seem fair. Unlike the Warlock deck, which seems entirely and utterly unfair.
And so Jason Joe was considering the Colite Oracle, but he doesn't want to overdraw the Gadgetzin. This is like the problem that you find yourself in with this deck. He's actually going to use the coin. Okay. Alright, so he's just gonna leave that on the field. He's risking his opponent playing Colite Oracle, but it's hard for LovelyChook to use Colite Oracle here without messing himself up as well. So Jason just is gonna kind of give away the 1 damage here in order to set himself up better for the future.
Yeah, Colite Oracle really awkward to use in this particular mirror match, but I suspect it doesn't make much difference. Somebody will get a long way in front here, I feel. They'll auctioneer turn go completely crazy. Both players with double sprint in hand, so the preps are going to be really important here as well, I think, because then you just get steamrolling down.
By the way, we've had a few people join the stream since we started casting, so we have to reiterate to you, you guys aren't losing your minds. The format of today's show match is they need to kill themselves first. So, if you're confused at all about what these decks are or why LovelyChook purposely buffed up his opponent's minion there, it's because the format is kill yourself first.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see someone somewhere make a big misplay today where they just revert to instinct and do something correctly for normal Hearthstone, which would be completely terrible in this. Yeah. Somebody's just going to play a bit fast and do something really basically
He's going to overdraw 1 here.
Interesting.
Okay. See, this is also part of the issue. Yeah, this is part of the issue with putting a minion on the board, because now you can buff your opponent's minion and take damage from it willingly. So he doesn't overdraw the Gadgetzin. That's actually pretty huge there.
Yeah, and it was interesting that to see that LovelyChook in the last game did play all those stealth minions so that he can still operate with them, like with his Mortal Cores and stuff, but his opponents wouldn't be able to do this sort of shenanigans to them. Where he is just self-beating.
Alright, I think Jason Joe used both preps, right? So he can't go for something like Gadgetzin into prep sprint, which would be weird. But looks like LovelyChook's going to get started on the Gadgetzin turn first. And I think he wants to hold on to that prep in case he gets the second Gadgetzin auctioneer on the table. Ooh, Conceal's a huge deal here, because now LovelyChook might be able to kill the Gadgetzin on the side of Jason Joe. On the second turn, I would say.
Yeah, I think Jason Joe is going to be forced into a turn where he does all the stuff, then conceals. That's fairly basic strategy anyway, but he's got to try and get a little bit out of his hand, because if he keeps burning all these important cards, he is going to be in trouble. I think LovelyChook's a long way in front here. There
is the second Gadgetzin, but yeah, no second conceal here, so it's very easy for the Gadgetzin to just kind of die off before you can properly kill yourself.
I wonder how many times we're going to say those 3 words today.
We have to remind people every time
Exactly.
Every time, I see another person in chat say, "What's going on?" It's like, nope, they're trying to kill themselves. That is the point of the game.
I'm quite happy to let chat get on with it and let chat self-police. If there's somebody in there doesn't know what's going on, I'm just happy for it to get all confusing for a while. That's my inner kill yourself showing there, I think.
Yeah.
As he shivs own face to draw a card closer to death and do a damage. That's pretty powerful in this. Card closer to killing yourself and you hurt yourself in the process.
I think that Lovely Chick has gotten pretty far as
Yeah.
That stack looks pretty small from this perspective.
So that stack is 6 or fewer, and he's had it for a couple of cards. I think he's got something like 4 cards left. I learned my stacks a while ago. It's made a big difference, actually. It's really interesting if you learn those stack sizes when you are like rebroadcasting like this. But that one is 6 or fewer, and it stays the same down to 1. And you get the warning when you're on 2 as well, so you can usually do the end of this pretty good.
Right.
Pretty good. That's good English.
Pretty good English, I would say. But Jason Joe, I think that Lovely Chook has actually got this, I would say, because Jason Joe, these Collate Oracles in his hand are completely dead. He can't really use them.
Right. And they haven't seemed very good in any of the games for him so far, so obviously I understand the point, but maybe they're just a little bit too helpful to your opponent. Even though I understand the whole point, as he is now down to that 6 or fewer stack himself.
Well, if your opponent isn't going for the mill plan, which I'm not sure how many decks are good without going for the mill plan, you can potentially, kill yourself that way while your opponent isn't close to being in fatigue, essentially.
Yep, and this is the thing. Even though Jason Joe just caught up now. Basically, Lovely Chook's going to get first go at the fatiguing himself here. He is 6 health ahead, which is obviously a bad thing, but he's about to iron that out using this Abusive Sergeant.
Right.
The reason you stated at the very start, it's just Abusive Sergeant letting you do an extra 2 to face.
Do you think it would have been better if he had just used the Cold-Light Oracle? Because I feel like that's a bit more damage. Or not the Cold-Light, excuse me, the Loot Hoarder. If you had gone for the Loot Hoarder and then backside the Loot Hoarder, because then you take 1... Instead of just taking 2 damage from the Gadgets and Auctioneer, you take way more damage from Fatigue.
He's going to Shadow Step the Novice. He's from the Fatigue, from the Loot Hoarder, and backstab, that'd be 1, but it adds up the Fatigue. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a misplay.
Right. Does he have it this turn? Self-kill Fatigue is something I don't really think about too much, but I think he has it. He's taking another from the... No, he wins here. Yeah, there you go. 5. There you go. All right.
Even if he doesn't, he'd be able to get a situation where the Cold Lights would kill him first, I think. But he did have it, and 2-1 to Lovely Chook. Wow.
Did Lovely Chook have Cold Lights in his deck? I don't think he did he?
He didn't. No, he went with the Novice Shadow Step rather than the Cold Lights, which I think is better because it's not symmetrical.
Right. That said, it put some weird cards in his deck, like Abusive Sergeant, and what was the other one? Also, the thing for Shadow Step is that you really want to use it on your Gadsden if you can, so you can get the double Gadsden out there, but that match was so kind of bizarre. Both players had kind of clunky hands, particularly Jason Joe.
Yeah, I wonder if Jason Joe will stick with the Rogue. I mean, don't usually talk about Conquest pick order, but in this, I want to know if he wants to show off what he's brought in case he loses, or if he's just going to stick with the Rogue.
Well, we have a Major Domo. That's one way to kill yourself.
Dude.
Okay, here we go. And Jason Joe, here's the thing. His Cold-Light Oracles are not going to work again because his opponent has Cold-Light and Naturalize.
There's a Major Domo in this deck. A Cold Light, some eggs, Naturalize.
Jason Joe's hand, by the way, is much better than last time. Last game he had a lot of clunkiness in his hand, and this time he's able to kind of... Once he gets something going, he's able to just, continue to kind of snowball that advantage. Right. By the way, Runic Egg is kind of interesting. I wonder if he can proc that himself. I guess, okay, you can naturalize it, I suppose.
So there's the Moonfire. So maybe there's a Malygos lurking here. That was my first Instinctive Druid. That you've got a lot of very cheap damage to self-harm with.
And so Jason Joe decides to take the 1 damage before he fans. Just wants to be able to get that cycle in as quickly as possible.
This Rogue deck seems very fair.
Yeah,
which isn't what you want to be doing.
It's not very broken, right? Alright, Healing Touch comes... Healing Touch comes in the hand of Lovely Chook to be able to heal the opponent, obviously, in this format. But
right, that implies to me maybe he's got Gadget Sound in here as well, with lots of cheap spells and stuff here. even in the Druid deck.
Alright, so Jason Joe, he wants to kill this off, even though theoretically he could take more damage over the course of a couple turns, because he doesn't want that to get, you know, bounce back via Brewmaster or something like that, and he overdraws. Jason Joe wants to overdraw eventually, but not now. He wants to get the best way to overdraw, and if he overdraws now, he's gonna overdraw too slowly. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, this is something that they're going to have to, because it's an entirely new format, and I don't know how much time these guys would have devoted to this, but I'd imagine something in the region of three days for this show match, maybe 2 days of 3 or 4 hours a day and a bit more thinking time. They're going to miss things, they know that. So you can't let something like a Cold Light live, not because you necessarily think it's that good, but because you might have missed something. So you've got to play some basic Hearthstone techniques as well, which involve just not letting your opponent have anything that looks suspicious. And it all looks suspicious in this format so far.
Alright, Jason Joe's going to get rid of a couple cards here so that he can set up for future turns. Obviously you want to have something like Deadly Poison to be able to cycle with gadgets in, but right now he just wants to have, you know, as many possibilities as possible, essentially, to go into his future turns.
Bran is also, talking of suspicious, incredibly suspicious here. It's a very powerful card, I suspect, in this format, just because it's going to enable you to do all your crazy stuff twice, and there will be battle cries we have forgotten existed that will operate really well with Bran. But obviously things like Cold Light are obvious as well.
I think it's mostly going to be the Cold Light. I can't really imagine anything else that's coming up here.
You're a braver man than I, D2. It's all on you if you miss one.
Oh, sure. It's fine. I'm perfectly...
But it's also... You get all the brownie points if you're right, of course, as well.
I'm perfectly fine messing up this particular broadcast. It's not... It's like, I just...
Said no caster ever.
I'm waiting for the Reddit thread tomorrow where people are like, he missed the self-kill broadcast. Why didn't he think of X card that Brad works off of that kills you the best? Like, yeah, okay, guy, sure.
A card that you never played, even when it was legal, suddenly broken.
Alright.
Like Major Domo, but people did play that occasionally.
Jason Joe's gonna go for... I think he really needs to conceal here. Because once your opponent kills off your Gadgetzin, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this Druid deck, I've been scratching my head about, chat's been scratching their head about a little bit, and now Jason Joe's scratching his head. He's just having a think there to make sure he needs to conceal, because he's got no real idea what he's up against. And to be honest, even though we've seen most of the deck, neither are we at the moment.
And the thing is, this is... When you're going for self-mill, you don't need the same tools, essentially, right? And that means that there's no real way to take care of the Gadgetzin via something like Starfall. I suppose there's like a super meta call, you know, where you go for... You predict that your opponent needs a concealed Gadgetzin, and then you kill that off so they can't mill themselves. And so you put Starfall in the deck, but that seems like... that I would just be extremely impressed if that happened.
Yeah. I mean, again, these are impressive players, so we're going to see some good stuff, but it is a one-off show match. The league phase will interest these guys more, obviously, because it's just one match, best of 17. And best of 17 is going to be a lot of hard work as well in a new format. It's going to be crazy to see these matches in the week as it comes up.
Alright, so Love the Trick has the decision between Astral Communion, which he don't... He could go for Astral Communion if he doesn't feel like his hand's good, but I feel like Major Dome was part of his plan. There's been speculation in chat already that he goes for Major Domo plus Naturalize himself, and then Malin goes Moonfire himself, something like along those lines. But
seems really good to me.
But yeah, he does go for the Mark of Nature, because if this Gadgetzin 6, then Lovely True can go ahead and take an extra 7 damage if he face tanks it. Or excuse me, he takes 7 damage in general. He takes an extra 4.
It's interesting that they're both on 30 still, with, you know, obviously the healing touches, and these decks aren't operating quickly, not like the first decks we saw with the Warrior drawing the Ancient Curses and the Warlock trying to sack pact himself. These decks just seem like the sort of decks that formats settle down to, kind of decks where they're actually a little bit more balanced.
Right, and Lovechuk, let's see, I think we're going to find out what his plan here is, because he can take extra damage from the Mark of Nature, but he might just want to go for a Major Domo right now, and looks like he's going to go for the Major Domo Naturalized plan.
Right, this is a way of getting rid of it to save that important 9, as you just pointed out. And milling your opponent in the process is the only downside, really. Bringing your opponent near.
If he has something like a claw in his deck, I think he's gonna go for double. Or sorry, he's gonna go for a kill onto the Gaddison by using Naturalize. And even though you make your opponent draw 2 cards, they're gonna draw way more if you let that stick up. So preventing card draw in order to make sure that they don't draw even more cards is kind of an interesting thing.
So he has to mill himself for 8 here to be able to do lethal.
And
I don't know if he can, but he probably can.
Well, that's
yes, he
no,
can.
well, yeah, he can with the Cold Light. Okay, so that is lethal there. 5.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 is 15, and then 6, 21, 7, 20. Yeah, so he has lethal there. 36 damage, right?
28 plus 8, yeah, 36 damage to his own face in 1 turn. And lovely Chuk sits there as his opponent dies and is really sad about it. Which is nice.
This is the most bizarre game
Cast ever.
And by the way, Jason Joe has managed to kill himself on turn 8. I think every single game, none of the games have gone to turn 10.
Right, and again, maybe showing his decision not to bring Sack Packed Warlock is actually a good one. Like I thought everybody would be bringing that deck, but if he can kill himself on turn 8 every single time, he doesn't need to bring that deck, obviously, because it's too slow. That one being turn 9 without coin. And we're going to see... I really hope that all of these matches go 3-2, especially in the semi-finals, because I want to see all of the decks from all of the players here.
Right. I don't know, but right now, just my head hurts. You know, caster math is hard enough, but when you're doing reverse caster math, I can't. I just can't anymore.
Reverse caster math. Wow. Somebody's already pointed out people should just bring Priest, because then you never win anyway.
That was a pretty good one. You could actually potentially kill yourself, but you'd have to set up a combo that probably takes longer than, you know, getting to turn 10. Poison Seeds.
Druid Mirror with Chinese cards that we haven't seen for 2 years.
I feel
what
like
could possibly go wrong?
I feel like Priest, though, just going back to the Priest thing, I think even in a setup where you're trying to kill yourself, I feel like Priest still couldn't pull it off.
I can't make a format where it's good.
Like, we're trying to kill yourself. Come on, Priest, you can do it.
Stop healing yourself, you silly man. Oh my goodness, Astral Communion.
Is it good, though?
Probably not.
Yeah, he's sitting there laughing. He's like, do I go for it?
But if you've got Major Domo in your deck, then it's amazing, right? If you draw it.
Right. It depends on what's in his deck. If he has a bunch of Cold Lights, he's gonna go for it. If he has a bunch of Cold Lights and, you know, stuff that basically cycles through his deck, then that could help a lot.
I'm guessing that basically all of the cards are useless to him, so he picks the one that might end up doing something. If he gets desperate, for instance, on turn 6 or something like that, he could go for it.
The thing is, if you don't have Innervate, then suddenly you feel very silly for taking Astral Communion, because he already drew the Thorison, which might be part of his plan, and he might draw something very valuable next turn, and all of a sudden you picked up Astral Communion for no reason. And you just go for the Innervate now. Okay, he picks up the Innervate. He's gonna say, I don't want to risk it. He's gonna go for the Astral Communion right now, and toss everything away.
Right, so why not? You're trying to kill yourself, you might as well throw away all of your means to do so in the process, just to make things even more spectacular.
Wait, why did he Hero Power? Oops.
I told you someone today is just going to instinctively make a mistake, unless there's something relevant there, but yeah. It's just auto mistake. What he does.
Even something as rare as Astral Communion mechanics, he still knows. Jason Joe has all the mechanics down. He's like, it's so ingrained in his mind. Yeah, you Astral Communion, then you Hero Power, obviously.
Yeah. And
oh, and by the way, thank you again for helping us out, Chad. He missed the Moonfire to his own face as well.
oh, before he threw the card
Right.
away. So he actually did 2 points of error there. And again, it's just all these mechanics that people playing on instinct, just a format you never get to play. I mean, people just occasionally challenge their friends at it for a bit of fun on forums and such like, but it's so rare.
Alright, so Jason Joe's gonna... I'm curious what his plan actually is here. Is it to Malagos himself, or does he have
Looks
another...
like Malagos, yeah.
Does he have another win condition? I feel
Poison
like...
Seeds
I feel like with the Raven Idols in this deck, he wants... Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Gadgetzan is a big part of his plan. So he has the double plan of either milling himself or killing himself with the Malagos. But... yeah, it's not working out too well for him. By the way, Poison Seeds is an interesting kind of counter to the meta, if you could call it that, where your opponent plays a Concealed Gadgetzan and then you just kill it with Poison Seeds.
Yes.
So he's already...
Yeah,
he came up with a plan. Okay, he's going to go for just killing off the opponent's stuff. Doesn't want the Emperor to go off another time. Picks up a Naturalize, which is pretty useless.
And it's pretty amazing. I mean, obviously that's still the basic level, but this is just a one-off show match. And even then, Jason Jones going with next level stuff, working out what's going to be played and how to deal with it. You can only imagine how this would work if this was a format over 2 or 3 weeks, with players adapting every single day. It just shows how strong people are in terms of thinking about beating their opponents when you respect your opponent's ability.
I don't even want to see that. They'd be too good at killing themselves. Alright, so DouyuTV can actually get out his Major Domo and kill it off with a Naturalize, but I don't see how he kills himself after that. He has Living Roots and Moonfire, but he would need Malagos or something, or some sort of extra spell damage to kill himself, or just pick up more stuff, like Starfire.
Right, he's actually choosing to keep the combo in hand for now, because he can do more damage to himself. Although it doesn't seem very relevant doing the damage to himself, but he can do more damage to himself by just tanking into his opponent's minions for now.
Jason Joe picks up Innervates, even when you're trying to kill yourself, one of the worst cards you can possibly pick up.
And he's hero powered again.
Well, he did it to take extra damage, but you take an extra.
Of course, he takes one extra. Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. That makes some sense. Yeah, last time there was nothing on the board, so now I'm losing the plot. Awesome.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with, right? You're just sitting there like, I guess this you try to think backwards, and then you think backwards too hard, and then it starts getting forwards again. And here we go. We're gonna.
And then tomorrow, of course, we have best of 17.
Right. I'm not sure if this is a good idea by DouyuTV, because he's giving Jason Joe now more time to do what he wants to do.
It does set up lethal top decks, though, for himself. Like, if he draws something like the Starfire off the top, it means that he can win instantly rather than having to set it up the turn after.
Right, and it looks like he's going to go for... Hold on. So, the thing is, he can't really Moonfire his own Loot Hoarder, because he loses the ability to kill himself with a Starfire afterwards, so...
that is a really good point. He can naturalize his Loot Hoarder.
What if Jason Joe puts an Alexstrasza to set his opponent to 15 after? that would be awesome.
So these zombie chows are pretty useless. We've seen in 2 of his decks now. Make a lot of sense because you quite often want to be able to target your own minions.
Right.
Do we naturalize our own egg here? Or the Loot Hoarder?
Huh.
I guess it's the Loot Hoarder. I guess you want to naturalize it. What's the opponent on? 9 cards? 8 cards. So you are filling his hand up with burning 1. I think I naturalize the Loot Hoarder here to try and draw closer to victory, and also
to victory.
There's a chance we burn our opponent's key card. We will probably get to fatigue if he wins. So if you just burn a really important card, that could be good as well.
My head just hurts thinking about this. I'm just trying to think of like how DouyuTV guys do this. Is there any other way for him to win this other than, you know, like you mentioned, just naturalizing?
Trying to work out if there's something where he can draw. Is it just Starfire? I guess there must be a Malagos in his deck. We just haven't seen it yet in the deck of DouyuTV here. Because it just means that some of this stuff is... maybe not. Maybe 8's just a really awkward number.
Yeah, and by the way, how is Jason Joe going to win this? He has Malagos plus 13 damage on his face, but nothing after that. He's already given up a Moonfire when he Astral Minions. So, I think he's kind of ruined his own chances. And by the way, this is the first game that's gone to turn 10.
Right, this is actually a real grind, this particular game. I'm also wondering if there's a Finley in DouyuTV's deck to get rid of this hero power that he no wants.
Here is the card that we're looking. 1 mana off lethal, so he's not going to do anything. He's not going to give his opponent more cards. That Wrath was huge. You got to draw 2 cards off of it, and Jason Joe can't kill himself, so I think DouyuTV's just going to win the game and the series.
Yeah, I think he could have healing touched Jason Joe there just to save one, just in case there was 29 for sure available. But
Oh, Lorinda.
we're in the right place for that meme, right? So,
Alright, Lovely
Here we
Chook
go.
is going to successfully kill himself with Malagos, Moonfire, and Living Roots, and he's going to take the series over Jason Joe.
yeah, I don't even know what you call winning a series of killing yourself. There must be a really good phrase for it out there somewhere, and it must be amusing, but I can't think of it. Trying desperately not to let the cast get dark. Good to see these players coming up with some innovative ideas. We did see the Warlock one, of course, but self-mill Rogue made sense. But both players bringing Druid, which was a lot less obvious, I think, than the other two. And both players coming up with a similar idea.
Well, neither Druid deck did very well. Lovely Chook's deck died to Rogue, and the Druid decks, they were just kind of fighting with wet noodles, right, against each other, both going beyond turn 10, which is not what we saw for any of the other decks. So we're starting to see that Druid is not the best pick here, it seems like, and perhaps we'll see Breath and Jumbo, as you can see on the screen, go for something different. But I was about to mention that, yes, they are killing themselves, but Lovely Chook kind of did so in style, killing himself as both Ragnaros and as Jiraxis. Maybe he's trying to get revenge on them for something that happened to him in WoW. I'm not sure. He's doing it
I'm
for
just
the
looking
people.
at the two players who are coming up next casting. Breath seems to be really enjoying himself, and Jumbo seems to be kind of in serious mode already. It's only me, looking at the body language, but I'm interested to see if Jumbo's taken this significantly more serious than the other three players.
Yeah, he cracked a smile for a moment there. Alright guys, looks like we're going to go to a break, and we'll see you guys when we come back.
再咆哮，再咆哮，咆哮，咆哮，双咆哮，耶！这个傻逼，哈哈哈哈哈哈！我就知道他有双咆哮，哈哈哈哈哈哈！啊！怎么这么看？哎呦，耶！抱歉。
发生这种事，我很抱歉。
死亡之鳌！啊！啊！他跑了！哈哈哈哈哈！哈哈哈哈哈！哈哈哈哈！
哎呀，我的补啊！
进。
小邋遢，人呀
进
是邋遢，邋遢大王就是他，人家的小邋遢，小邋遢，人呀是邋遢，邋遢大王就是他，没人喜欢他。忽然有一
对
天，
接
小邋遢变了，邋遢大王他不邋遢，我们喜欢他。忽然有一天，
炸弹
小邋遢变了。
可以打一，再上个血马可以打二。
我们大家都喜欢他。
He drew it so fast. How do you draw it that fast? Okay, he doesn't have a play though. He drew that torch pretty fast, I have to say though.
天降使群，
Oh, what? 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 Wait, what the? What the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? 来了，给你们看看穿墙斩杀之术。穿，好的。穿，好的。穿，好的。穿，好的。这就是我家的傻爹，跟别人家的不一样。
对不起，
你大爷！
死了，我们用傻爹穿死他好了，给傻爹一个机会。好的。
我要260啊！别拦着我，不要拦着我，没有人可以拦住我260。你别送挂哥，260 TC 260来也！不要这个，不要这个，讲道理不要这个，不要这个啊！我已经说好了，这2个不要，其他3个随便拿2个。走走走走走。算出人的话，那就130，我甚至可以260，什么意思嘛？这，我怎么感觉要重蹈覆辙？我有一个不小的预感，我有预感这2个又要来了，这2个又要来了。我操！
跟你们讲一个笑话，圣骑士的斩杀。
no！ 你，
哦，死了。
哎，真是你！
来，转型骑士，怎么都是这些傻屌东西啊？啊，都是垃圾！给我3个钉钉！啊！以眼还眼，崇高牺牲！我操！圣光束，神圣之力，还有没有更垃圾的？我想看看。智慧祝福也是垃圾。先养圣光吧，先养圣光吧，先养圣光吧。这游戏我真的玩不了。天哪！天哪！天哪！很不错，很不错，结果他妈2个垃圾奥面还被拆了。骑士可能是转职最垃圾的职业了吧？天哪，又是神圣之力！天哪，又是！天哪！天哪！天哪！天哪！天哪！天哪！我的手牌呀！天哪！天哪！天哪！哎，有，哎，有，我还是有生物的，最后2个生物，快跑！ 干嘛？
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Celestial Invitational NSL Masters show match / test stream. I'm D2. With me is Lorinda. How's it going?
Yeah.
It's going, yeah.
What can you? It's going really yes at the moment. I mean, what can you even say about players trying to kill themselves live on stream? It's pretty exciting. Good to see a new format. Again, we're introducing the fact that there's going to be best of 17 with different formats each week. I think they're a little bit more stable than killing yourself, but they're still going to be interesting, exciting new formats once each week.
By the way, even though this is a show match and it's kind of like a test stream type of thing, there are stakes here. The winner of this 4-man tournament will win $1,000. So may the best Subaru, maybe the best Subaru win, I suppose. But yeah, we did have the first match go to Lovely Chook, as you can see on the right side of the screen there. Those are the players, Jason Joe on the left and Tiddler obviously in the middle. But before we go any further, would like to say thank you to Twitch for sponsoring us. The tournament will start tomorrow, and that's when the things start really rolling. And yeah, Twitch is sponsoring us for this event, so go check out Twitch Prime. If you have, with Twitch Prime, you can get things like the new Taronda skin and a lot of other cool things along with that as well. As Epic Music suddenly has come on my screen. Anyway, we're gonna go to that, I guess. Oh, there we go, nice. Oh, this is beautiful.
Epic music with epic players coming up.
Alright, so I guess I should get used to this graphic thingy.
I could get used to it. That Reynard picture was amazing as well. They've got some pretty good poses for this lot.
I feel bad talking over the epic music, maybe I should stop. Anyway.
Oh, I think we'll have another chance.
Alright, looks like we have our Chinese explanation. So here we go, 12 players from around the world. Hopefully guys can hear me over this. Actually, let me know that right now. If you guys can hear me over the Chinese explanation, if not, I'll mute it whenever this happens. But yeah, 12 players, and there's a group stage first with groups A and B, and each match is worth $1,000. It's a round-robin format, and each week there's a different format, you know, last hero standing, where they use wild or wild with, you know, GVG banned, stuff like that. And the 2 players who get out of their groups, the 4 players total, will go on to the playoffs, which are worth $30,000. And yeah, each match is a best of 17. And by the way, all the matches from Tuesday through Friday start at 7 p.m. Chinese time, which is that's 4 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Central European. And on Saturday, that's shift all those times 3 hours earlier because there's going to be 2 matches. The background is distracting, but we can hear you. Okay, I think I'm going to mute it from now on because it's distracting for me to talk. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. But anyway, again, guys, today is kind of a test stream / summit, so it's good to know what we're getting into with this. But
I like how all 12 players are just got win next to them in that bracket. There's no losers in this match. They're all winners.
Well, of course they are. They're champions.
Even though they try to kill themselves.
They're the Hearthstone Masters. That's what it's called. Anyway.
The NSL Hearthstone Masters, NSL obviously being absolutely huge over in China. So we'll be seeing a lot more of them. And yeah, looking forward to getting into this. I keep saying looking forward because it is a test stream. They are we're not quite sure exactly how the timing's working today. And that's why we're here today, to get you guys here for one day of what I think is actually pretty hilarious and also fairly serious stuff all in one, which Hearthstone needs more of, I feel.
Yeah, today is obviously pretty fun, but the real show starts tomorrow, again, starting at 7 p.m. Chinese time. What do you guys... I guess the people in the chat right now are probably in Europe, but then the read broadcast starts after that, so... Anyway, there's always going to be... It starts at 4 a.m. Pacific time and 1 p.m. Central European time, but it will go... There will be a rebroadcast afterwards, so if you're watching from Pacific and you want to just wake up and not pay attention to Twitter or something, not get the spoilers, then go ahead and check it out when the rebroadcast goes on.
something we haven't made entirely clear for the one poor guy in chat who probably hasn't worked it out yet, is sat there going to be embarrassed. We won't do that to that guy. No one's actually said it. But best of 17 means every class you have to win with. If it's Conquest, if it's Last Hero Standing, you have to beat every class.
Right.
So, yeah, best of 17 isn't just a random number. It does mean you have to play with every single class. We know that chat's worked out. There's going to be some poor guy sat at home or working or something who hasn't had the time to connect. Why are they picking 17 as the magic number? So, yeah, hopefully we just saved you having to ask whoever that guy is.
Just haven't played best of, 81 or something, just some random odd number. or just mess up and make it an even number, and then you
actually, 81's a really bad one, right? Because that's like every class plays every other class.
That is true. But
that's a really bad random number from your subconscious there.
All right, by the way, you probably already know... Sorry?
There's something... The priest just entered my screen. It scared me.
Oh, my... I thought... you scared me when you screamed that. I'm having a real-life what face right here. But... yeah, so he's actually playing Priest, and by the way, you guys probably already know the other 8 players from the West. The only other one, I mean, Eloise is kind of from both, but the other 8 players are pretty well known in the West. These are the 4 Chinese players that are going to be joining us for these matches, and they're all champions basically. The person you see on the screen is Breath, who won the the Spring Championship, and he's going to go to Blizz. Yeah, he's going to go to BlizzCon next week. Or the opening week of BlizzCon, and then this is Zhangbo, who won the Gold Series Grand Finals in January, which is the biggest tournament in China. So all of these players are basically champions.
And he came second in the summer qualifiers and third in the spring qualifiers. So he's the best Chinese player you're not going to see at BlizzCon, basically. And you may even see him in clips of other players qualifying because he was that close. Summoning Portal.
Yeah, they both have Summoning Portal. Wait. Are we looking at the same screen? What happened here? They both have Summoning Portal. You know what's better than Jiraxis on... Okay, did we look at the wrong player? Or did we look at the same one twice? I'm getting confused now. Anyway.
Well, there's Wisps in the hand as well, and there was a Tiny Fin, so I think they are playing the same deck, but it was possibly the same one twice.
Right. Well, there's no Wisps on the top end right now. But anyway, I was going to say, what's better than Jiraxis on turn 9 and kill yourself? Jiraxis on turn 6 and kill yourself. Or even 5, if the Summoning Stone comes out. The problem is that Zhangbo is probably going to have minions on the table, and he can probably kill the Summoning Stone, so... I don't know... Wait,
why all the 0 casting cost minions? Is that just so he can empty his hand quicker?
Sorry?
Why is he playing like Target Dummy and Wisp? Is this to empty his hand quicker?
Possibly? I guess he just wants to get through his deck as quickly as possible and not overdraw.
We saw Lovely Duke have like the same problem where he's playing all the stealth minions, so this I think is the same version of that.
Right. I think... Hold on. Okay, so if you put a Summoning Portal on the field, and you... Okay, looks like it's going to be Brand Flemish, I believe. No, he's going to go ahead and just empty his hand for a moment here. But if you Summoning Portal, and then the second Summoning Portal costs... Is it 2 less? Or am I getting... I'm getting so confused with this card. I think it's 2 less, right? So then that costs 2.
Yeah, it's 2 less.
And then your Jiraxis will cost 5. So there's actually no real point to doing that, as far as like on one turn is concerned.
Sure, but in terms of speeding yourself up where people aren't killing minions, that's not so bad. Although there's no way of stealthing it, so... I guess if you're playing weird minions that don't do much anyway, a naught attack minion that might let you win 2 turns early makes a lot of sense. It's got to be better than, say, Target Dummy, right? You would think. I quite like this brand. Oh, we've got Hellfire with Wrathguard, I think, in this deck as well.
So that's an extra 6 damage to himself. Kind of, sort of. Ooh, Pit Lord. So,
nice. Looks
like John was just going for the straight up, like, actual... There's no shenanigans, there's no self-mill, there's no Jiraxis. There's no, Jiraxis with the Sacrificial Pact. He just wants to hit himself in the face as much as possible.
Right, so he actually thinks this is quicker than the combo deck. And it could well be. There's a lot of damage coming out of his hand anytime soon. I wonder if he'll hold the Hellfire or whether he'll actually just get rid of it now to draw a card and do himself a 6. He may hold it in case his opponent has things that he wants to interact with.
So Breath is just Dark Bombed himself in the face. The thing we saw with... Oh, by the way, Summoning Portal and... Okay, so they do both have Summoning Portals. But the thing we saw with Lovely Chick was that he didn't even really need any of these Dark Bomb shenanigans. He just said, let me just get these stealth minions out in the field and cycle that way. But I guess if you're Dark Bomb yourself in the face, it doesn't really matter too much anyway.
You could Summoning Portal into Bran Flame Imp here, but the problem with that is your opponent probably does have Shadow Bolt. We saw it in the first match, so it's reasonable to expect.
Alright, so it looks
He's
like
just filling up the board with stuff.
yeah, he's just trying to get rid of these cards. This is a 4 damage Hellfire, so it does 8 damage to his own face. And then he has lethal next turn with Bran plus Pit Lord. Okay, turn 7 lethal. We got it.
Turn 7 lethal.
That's pretty
setting
good.
a new bar for complete craziness.
You know, Jongbo has always been one of the best players in China at going face, and I'm not surprised that he's good at going to his own face as well.
This is like rank 26 or even rank 27 plays. Killing yourself in 7 turns.
Next level.
You cannot gain stars at this rank.
But this is insane. This is going to set a new record for killing yourself. I believe the quickest one was 8 with the coin, right?
Yep, it was.
Or no, actually, I think one was 8 without the coin, but Jongbo has killed himself on turn 7 with no coin, which is pretty insane.
Wow. Told you he was taking it seriously. He's come out with next level strats. And he's even BMing with Tiny Finn in the middle of that.
The Tiny Fit BM is so real here. And that's turn 7 lethal. That's insane. Wow. Jongbo, you're setting records.
Yeah, turn 7, kills yourself without combos, because that would be turn 8. And Breath is like, why didn't I think of this? What am I even doing here?
What is this turn 8 Jiraxis plus, you know, Sacrificial Pact? I could just kill myself by hitting myself in the face. Bran is really good at killing yourself, it turns out.
Yeah, Bran seems busted, right? Because a lot of battle cries, like joking aside, well, still going to just joke as well, but joking aside, battle cries are usually downsides to enable you to have a more powerful card in some of the big buffs, like the Pit Lord. So Bran seems good. Or,
also,
they change the power level. They have upsides and lower the power level. They can do both, but obviously that half of the
also,
side.
speaking of Summoning Portal, if he goes for a 4-mana Summoning Portal, then he can go Bran for 1, that's 5. And then double Pit Lord for 9. So he can do 20 damage to himself with 9 mana, just out of nowhere. Which is pretty insane. Anyway, we're past that deck already. I just want to see Jongbo's deck. I'm rooting for Jongbo now because I want to see that deck one more time.
Yeah.
I just want to see him crush himself one more time to crush his opponent.
Do you know what happens if you eat too much cheesecake?
I do not. Wait, what?
I think it kills you. We just saw Priest of the Feast in here, and the flavor text is the Oscar card.
Wait, isn't it Funnel Cakes? It's Funnel Cakes.
We're going to have Funnel Cakes as well. We're going to have a guy here who's going to eat himself to death. He's just going to cheesecake his own face.
Well, he needs to win before turn 9. Although I would say that Brett's list isn't as streamlined as Lovely Chooks was, so... looking at Lovely Chooks' deck, it looked like it got there every single time on turn 9, whereas Brett's has a lot more combo stuff in there, which kind of clutters the deck a bit, in my opinion.
Right, but it's so quick, like Flash Heal and all that stuff is 5 a time. I wonder if we do see Arcanite. Well, we will see Soul Priest, that's probably his only way of hurting himself. And I wonder if we see Justicar.
What do you think this silence is for? Maybe for like a Summoning Portal or Gadgetzan?
Yeah, Gadgetzan seems like the obvious one. It feels like it's a card that a lot of people are going to play.
Is Jongbo going for mill or is he going for killing himself with Splash Shield? Maybe it's a double. Maybe there's a couple ways to go about it.
Right, yeah, if you could actually keep yourself alive with your healing, which is something I hadn't even considered.
Right.
So I hadn't even considered healing yourself, because we know that doesn't work.
Yeah, so there might be a double game plan here, right? You kill yourself, you mill yourself, and you also can go for
and you have
the
the
burst
option
in
to
your
go
face.
Soul Priest.
Yeah.
That's kind of clever if he's gone for that as well, because...
I feel like Breath needs to cycle this Mortal Claw right now. Yeah.
By the way, this is just showing how clever Lovely Chooks' idea was of bringing all stealth minions, because these Northshire clerics are going to be able to interact with the board.
Right.
And Breath's actually having to panic, so it's actually going to be really... It just shows how clever that was, like he just defeated, so...
Oh, I was gonna say Circle of Healing would have been a huge discard there, but he wants to play he wants to have Pyromancer plus some sort of healing here on his board, but doesn't pick it up. He really needs Flash Heal, or not Flash Heal, excuse me, Circle of Healing.
Do we have to reverse all the memes, like always go full Northshire?
Yeah, always go for Nisha in this format. Silence Target Dummy is the saddest minion you'll ever see. He's just kind of like, hey guys, I do nothing.
But he's still waving. He's still happy about it all. He doesn't mind. That's his job.
Alright, so we do see Embrace the Darkness come into the hand of Jongbo, so that's a lot of burst damage to his own face. He'll be able to go for... Oh, he has Powered Glory as well. That's an extra 4. Something that you don't really think about too much. So he has 17 damage to his face in hand, which he can do for 6 mana, which he can do next turn. So he has 17 burst damage to his own face right now.
Wow.
Oh, and he's Priest of the Feast as well. Oh.
Just how much is happening here?
I think
This is just insane.
I think Jumbo's gonna do it again, and he can some Thorson. What?
This is lethal on turn 7 again if nothing
He's gonna
ridiculous
do it.
happens. Lothar to stop it.
Turn
He's
7.
got Lothar.
Turn 7, lethal again,
No,
Jumbo.
he's got Lothar. Brett's got Lothar.
Oh, right. Brett is like, do I Lothar now?
What even? So your Brett's choice is whether to Lothar now, or he can't win on turn 8 anyway. So maybe he'll hold off Lothar until turn 8.
Yeah,
That
he
sets
kinda-
up
he
an
kinda has
almost
to wait.
guaranteed.
He kind of has to
So-
wait, right? Because just in case Jumbo picks it up next turn and not this doesn't have it this turn, he actually
Yes.
Yeah.
He will lose because of it, but he should wait, I think.
Oh no, this is actually really nice because he plays the Summoning Stone into Lothar, unfortunately. But he needs to attack everything into the Thorson. As you can see, Jongbo, by the way, has a
Keep the
big...
0-4 alive.
Jongbo's like, really? Really, Lothar? This card? I thought this wasn't a thing anymore. But yeah, he can't actually kill the Summoning Stone right now, I don't believe. There's a
Can we
circle,
kill
by the way.
Lothar?
Don't think so. Which means that Breath wins? Wait a second. No, he needs to kill the Summoning Stone, is the thing.
Yeah, and he knows it because we already worked out that it's a turn 8, turn 9 combo deck, so for sure Zombo lows. And can he kill it? He must be able to kill it, but then he uses up chunks of his combo to do so.
Right. Okay, Breath wins. What? It was like, oh, Jumbo wins now. Oh, wait, Lothar is a thing in this format. Okay, so I guess Breath wins. What just happened?
No, turn 8 combo win, having Lothar on turn 7.
Lothar
It's like
turns
Freeze
out-
Mage, but faster.
Lothar turns out is the MVP of this format, which we didn't even see in the entire first series, but you can stop Gadgetzin shenanigans, you can stop Malago shenanigans, you can stop Priest of the Feast shenanigans, it turns out. So, yeah, Lothar for the win.
That's one of the great things about new formats is new things happen.
Yeah, we're like,
You
wait.
just stop your opponent killing himself because you're a good Samaritan on turn 7. And then some Dark Lord has taken over your soul and killed himself.
Yeah, you sacrificed himself
Wow.
for the good of
The bad.
For the good of the
The good of the bad.
for the most epic
Okay.
epic Toyota possible.
1-1 in this semi-final match or first round match, whichever way you want to look at it. There's 4 of them today in this test stream. It is putting up $1,000. It is advertising the fact that we have a whole new 30-game league with different formats coming up, and it is a chance for us to get everything set up. It is also amusing, and there's also $1,000 on the line. So for the players, it's amusing, but it's also serious.
Yep. By the way, Breath kept Cold Blood. Why did he keep Cold Blood?
Kept Cold Blood so that his 1/1s can kill Thorsan. There you go. I'm going with that. It doesn't sound right.
I think my best.
It's
guess-
just 4 damage to face. Rogue sort of grinds, doesn't it? It's
Right,
just 4 more
I
damage
feel
to
like,
your face.
yeah, I feel like it's for because Breath has shown, excuse me, Jongbo has shown that his strategy requires putting minions on the field, and so Breath can take advantage of that. Say there's a Northshire Cleric in
Yeah.
the field, then Breath just smacks himself in the face for 5 every turn.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because that's actually a lot, right?
Yeah,
That's
so
actually really clever. That
so-
5 a turn in this deck is really good.
yeah, so he's like, yeah, don't draw any cards. You want to kill your own Northshire off, or else I'm going to hit myself for 5 every single turn.
I don't even know.
There might
Interesting
be a
that you
way.
value-
And here we go. Jongbo's gonna go for, buffing this Northshire up, but that means it's not going to die. And Breath can suddenly just kill himself, or smack his own face onto that. So suddenly,
Interesting that he's... You go.
I'm just saying, like, suddenly his decision to keep the Cold Blood seems like it's genius right now.
Yeah, I'm interested that he's playing like target dummy. And I'm in a rogue deck. I understand it in the Warlock deck where you just want to empty stuff out to make space, but in a rogue deck, you'd think there would be some spell that's better than Naught Casting Cost Minion. Maybe you do just have to empty your hand. Maybe you just draw enough key cards.
Yeah, because you saw it with Jason Joe in the first series where he was put in a position where he had to throw away cards just so that he wouldn't overdraw things like Gadgetzin.
Right.
So you do have to just toss cards out onto the field sometimes.
This does show the level of preparation these guys have put in for this test match. I wouldn't have realised how quickly your hand fills up. These guys have obviously put some time into this, like proper time. Keeping this Cold Blood is also an indicator of just how much time they must have put in. It's not an immediately obvious play. If you've just mailed it in and brought the deck along for the day, you wouldn't have seen this keep. And yeah.
So how does Jongbo now kill off his own North Star? Because that's going to hit Breath in the face for 5 every single turn from now on. And also, Breath can just play Lotham next turn to shut out Jongbo from being able to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just got to try and make Lotheb right, and he's in a really good spot. And
well, the issue is, if Jongbo does kill off the target dummy, though, then he can kill off, or he can start killing off his North Star next turn on the Lotheb. This could be just maybe. Yeah, you know what this is? I think Jongbo has said, you know what, you can go ahead and you heal yourself. I'm gonna just try to fatigue myself faster. So he's treating this like it were, you know, Draxus on turn 7 or 8 or something like that. He's like, I'm just gonna win faster.
Right, I mean, we saw with Jason Joe, like turn 8 is kind of the benchmark because turn 9 is lose to Warlock. So you have to be able to win by turn 8. What is he even going?
So this is what the silence was for. He needed silence for his own Light Wardens. Because he played...
Right.
Yeah, because sometimes he would have to play Light of the Naru. He has to silence his own Light Wardens to get him out of the way, but he is able to pick up the Northshire, or able to get it for the Northshire here.
And Breath is now back in normal mode. He's done himself 5 damage, and he's going to do another... Yeah, kinda. Has a whole hand of Auctioneer stuff, and he will have to again judge when to try to counter with Lotheb.
Well,
so he'll wait till he sees the Emperor, and then probably he'll do something.
I feel like Jongbo has kind of taken control of this, though, because he can now smite off his own Northshire.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly Breath has to get through his entire deck now.
But it might not take long. If the top, he will draw an Auctioneer the next turn or two, and his hand is really, really good for an Auctioneer hand with Lotheb in hand. I think this might be really close.
Wow, really smart play here from Jongbo. He goes for the Resurrect, and he's able to kill off his own Northshire that way.
Consider myself for 1, but he can heal himself for... he can heal you for 2, so Breath is actually gaining health now.
So Breath's determining that 3 damage is less important than just cycling through his deck, which is kind of true because he needs to just kill himself right now. It's pretty obvious at this point that Breath is going for the mill plan, the self-mill plan, but there's the Gadgetzin, by the way, so he finally is able to pick it up.
Yeah.
And wait, we haven't been looking at Jongbo's hand, but he has...
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's cheesecake time. There's a lot of spells there. So he can cheesecake himself for 7 times.
3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and then if something on the field, then he can go for another 4, so that's 19, 21, and 26. Is 26 damage in hand right now?
Can he heal his own face for 2?
Oh, no, but... Oh, wait.
Let's find out. He's going off. Let's see how much he has at the end of this.
I don't think he has it, does he?
I don't think he does either, but maybe he does. He seems to be doing this incredibly quickly.
I think he's just doing it now so he can just get stuff in the field. I don't think he has it, though. Is he pointing out that he made a mistake? Because...
Well, you had it at sort of 26 or something.
Yeah. Well, that was assuming that he could attack with Thorson, which he wasn't able to do.
Right.
I think he just miscalculated. What? I think he miscalculated. And he can't silence anything.
By quite a long way as well.
Right.
That's going to be pretty fatal because now he's got to draw the whole combo again.
And there's a lot of cards in the deck that you know, have synergy with the Embrace the Darkness. So if he picks those up off the top now, all of a sudden he can't really use them.
Yeah, he's like, this is going to get dealt with. 8's not much though when Priest do chunks of 5, but I think that Breath is going to be able to take this down. He's going to be able to get ahead on fatigue easily, so the mill should work.
希望你喜欢我的新发明。
Well, it's kind of important to start taking care of these minions on the board, though.
I think he's good here.
Because if he leaves stuff on the board, then Breath can go ahead and cycle with it, and then he's not too far off from killing himself. I think Jongbo also made a mistake of putting the Power Glory on the Acolyte when he... Now he can't actually attack with it. Whereas he didn't.
Yeah.
He never needed to attack with the Northshire.
喜欢我的新发明。
It also means that one target is... I guess he didn't want to put it on the Northshire because he didn't want the Northshire to get killed like and get double duty. But it's the same deal with the Acolyte anyway. I think you're right. I think it'd be better on the Northshire.
Alright, so Northshire's getting killed, and Brett's gonna take care of the Priest of the Feast as well. And so, yeah, this Acolyte just kind of heals Jumbo up, and he's not a mage. Oh, he picks up the Embrace of Darkness! Uh-oh.
Does it? Wow.
That is one of the best cards he could have drawn up,
6
though.
more. And he can draw into lethal quite a lot of ways here.
By the way, sorry, we are streaming off of another stream, so this is gonna have issues. So yeah, he's gonna take 6.
How's he going to do the last 2? He's going to need a knock on it, or he's never going to be able to win. If he draws Soul Priest at any point now, he'll win the game.
And just determines that he doesn't have enough because Breath could have just cycled for a ton there on the other side. Breath looking pensive, like, did I really have the win there? I'm not sure. I think I did. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
We're both just kind of awestruck right now. Like, what is happening? I think both players are kind of confused as well.
So what actually happened there?
He just thought he was dead. It was kind of... He was kind
Oh,
of...
he hit
like
the concede?
Yeah, no, he didn't
Yeah.
kill himself. Yeah, you can't win by conceding. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You can't just concede first and win the game. That doesn't work. You have to actually kill yourself.
Yeah, perhaps he's not playing Soul Priest. That's all I can think of, because... Anyway,
But I think...
you must play Soul Priest, right?
Well, Breath had like 9 mana with the Gadsden on the field and like 2
Sure.
cards in the deck, so there's, I think he was going to be able to kill himself, but yeah, it was not necessarily over.
Right.
By the way, sorry, apologies for the issues. We are getting the clean feed from the from NeoTV, but sometimes we have pauses like this. Apologies for that. Alright, so we see Paladin for the first time, and this looks like another... What is this? I'm trying to figure out what Jongbo is trying to do with this deck.
So he's buffing things up, so he must have a way of hurting himself on those things. Like buff your opponent's stuff and then hit them with your face.
He has Forbidden Healing. Did he accidentally bring a real deck? Or
No.
not a real deck, but like... Also we have to think about Breath's hand as well. Wait, why is he so confused? Okay, Breath is befuddled. Did he bring the wrong deck?
Like this looks just like a real Hearthstone deck at this point.
Yeah, I'm so confused right now. Are we still in this
I'm
series?
assuming that the decks have been built for them. Like people have they've submitted lists and they've been built up for them, and this looks like it could be the wrong deck, or maybe he has submitted the wrong deck. He's absolutely in hysterics.
Wait, what? I'm so confused. What is going on?
So again, this is a test, guys. The best of 17s do start tomorrow. That's why we've got this. Maybe it's the only card in Breath's deck that is bad to come from Barnes, or maybe he thought he was guaranteed. Maybe he thought he was guaranteed Major Domo, and he's put in a Blood Mage and only just realised that mistake.
He accidentally put Blood Mage in his deck.
So he's not. It's meant to be in there. he's built it with Major Domo, and he's tested it a few times and always pulled the Major Domo and just forgotten that Blood Major was a minion. That's what's happened. Because this is a killer combo. He thought he had won on turn 4, which, by the way, would be genius if he had. Because you had Major Domo on the board on turn 4 is like, how do you beat that? In this format, how do you beat that? He's got all this stuff to kill himself.
That looks pretty good, yeah. I would say, I agree, that looks pretty good. Turn 4 Major Domo, got yourself butt.
Right.
By the way, what is Jongbo's plan? I still don't understand the Forbidden Healing. I'm so confused. Oh, you heal your opponent. You heal your opponent so they don't die, okay.
Yes, like you say, I still have no idea. So what kind of Jongbo's plan? Breath is obvious. It's now Major Domo, and he's still laughing about how the fact that he just forgot another minion would be fixed. There's Novice Engineer as well. So it really is a fail of an idea.
Yeah, so why was he so confused? Hearthstone doesn't work that way, where you just get the nuts every single time. He was absolutely like super confused. He's like, this is gonna work every time. I put Major Domo in my deck and I pull it with Barnes, but I put more minions in the deck? It's like, wait, what?
So this is clever. Hungry Dragon gives your opponent a minion.
And then you kill yourself.
So you're guaranteed to be able to buff, and then you kill yourself with it. You're guaranteed to be able to buff your opponent's minion that you give them, so it gets around all of the stealth strategies. So,
oh, here we go. This is the combo. We're seeing it right now. Thorson into Hungry Dragon, into Seal of Champions, Blessing of Kings, and what's the last one called again? The Blessed Champion, I'm guessing?
Blessed Champion, yes. Right, how do you actually kill yourself on that, though?
Right, you double your opponent's stuff. So
oh, you do your opponent's stuff, okay, and then you just make it really huge.
Right.
But that's assuming they can't kill the one drop that the Hungry Dragon gives them.
Well, the one big thing, though, is that even with the Thorson discount, he still doesn't have enough mana. Because Hungry Dragon into all this stuff is a lot of mana, right? It's 11 plus 5 is 16, so it goes down to 12. So that can't really be the combo, because you can't really rely on Thorson sticking for an extra turn.
Yeah. So he's going to have to buy. I mean, you can build your opponent's minion up so it gets out of range of being killed, but then there's things like Naturalize being played. Okay, so he's happy with his hand. He's happy with Thor sending this. So he has enough of the pieces that he's going to use to do it.
Right. He's thinking about using Hand of Protection, but this can get naturalized pretty easily. And
well, if he gets the Naturalize out there, at least it defends the Hungry Dragon minion, though. Does your head hurt, D2? Does it hurt yet?
a little bit. There's a second Naturalize, though. But I wonder what Breath thinks. I'm curious as to what Breath thinks Jongbo's deck is, right? Because if it is self-mill, then you don't really want to give your opponent ways to mill by clearing their own Thorson, so...
Wow. The intricacies of a 9-game-old metagame where the players are already starting to adjust to what's going on. Apart from the fact that Breath has no clue at all what is happening here, I should think.
So Breath is convinced that there's some sort of combo in here, and he wants to mill all the pieces. And it was kind of a giveaway. The fact that Jongbo wanted to keep his Thorson alive for multiple turns means that Breath is convinced that he doesn't have the combo quite yet. And that's a huge card. Blessing of Might was a huge card there. Because that's...
Breath sees Blessing of Might as his first clue as to what is happening. He must be like, how on earth does my opponent give me a minion? If he knows that Hungry Dragon is coming here, I would be astounded.
That's the thing, though, because Blessing of Might was it's the cheapest card you can have. Even Sealed Champion discounted is still 2 mana, so it's going to be hard to make this work here.
I wonder if he has any other way, whether he can use his big minions of himself to his advantage as well.
I think his plan is to play Lothar on the same turn.
Yeah. Oh, there's the giveaway.
Yeah, Brett's finally understands. He's like, oh, Hungry Dragon, I see. So what Jongbo can do is play the Lothar. The Lothar and the Hungry Dragon have to come down on the same turn.
Yes.
And then likely the Seal of Champions. So that's going to be 9 mana. He hits himself for at least 3 next turn. And then from there, he buffs it up by a ton. But the problem is the Blessed Champion and the Blessing of Kings, all those 3 cards can't be played at the same time.
And buffing your own Acolyte is actually really cool, because it just gives you loads more card draw. But Breath's going to take advantage of that to start hitting himself in the face for 9. And yeah, if you can have a card, I don't mind. In fact, Breath's sticking for more cards, which makes sense, but he can actually self-harm quite a lot here.
Right, but I don't...
Without even comboing.
Is there a double plan here for Breath to potentially mill if he doesn't have the Major Domo? He does pick up the Major Domo. It's you know, it's hard to say if it's quicker to kill himself via Major Domo or with just self-mill.
This is clever, Tinkmeister. So Rogue being one of the staples of the format already after all 2 matches we've ever seen. Tinkmeister's a good way of dealing with auctioneers and such like.
So the problem for Jumbo right now is that he can play Loath of Hungry Dragon now, but his opponent can just kill itself on the Acolyte. So he can't actually face tank the Divine Shield anymore because now it's dead on board.
Yeah, this seems really difficult to win an actual interactive game with. I understand the combo, I think, but it just seems like in the cut and thrust where your opponent actually has cards that can deal with your combo, it feels really difficult.
And the funny thing is that Jumbo, I think all these card draw mechanics are in order to actually draw under the combo, rather, as we see, Moonfire is actually a huge card from Overdraw, speaking of Breath, by the way. But I think he actually went through, I think it's more for the piece of the combo rather than self-mill, and so he can't really mill himself quickly enough to
right.
You know, before his opponent's able to kill himself.
So he does have next turn lethal now with the Starfire, Moonfire, Living Roots adding up to plenty. And so Zhongbo's going to at least show us what he's trying to do, but I think he's
I would
miles
rather
off
him not show this, to be honest. Because then Breath can more easily play around it.
I mean, he's 2-1 down, so he's got to try.
Wait, Breath can't do anything right now with the... He can't kill himself right now because of Lotheb? But I don't think that Jongbo has lethal on his end, does he? Wait, hold on.
He's got 4-1 Wolf.
So he can Blessing... He can use the Seal Champions and the 2 Blessed Champions on it. So it goes to 8 and then 16, 32. So Jongbo wins?
Lotheb looking like the staple of this format, but does Breath not have another natural?
Oh, no, but he can kill it. He can kill it with the Moonfire, though.
Right.
Okay, never mind, Breath wins. Okay. My head hurts, but I think we figured it out. I think that Breath wins.
Yep, he's managed to play around the Lotheb here. Moonfire, he's got so much of his own combo in hand that he was able to burn one, killing the minion.
And
so...
by the way, Breath is also at 2-1, so there's no reason for Jumbo to, hold back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. After a lot of confusion, Breath is actually going to win this. A good spot by him, by the way, killing his own Wolf off.
Just to point out, guys, if you want to hear casters struggling with new formats for the next 7 weeks, this is the testing. This is the craziest of the formats, I think.
Yeah,
but we are going to have...
all the other ones are more or less straightforward. They're just kind of, different cards that you can use depending on the set. But yeah, this is definitely the most...
Best of 17 will still lead to confusion, right?
That is true, but not as much in-game confusion as you're seeing here. Maybe you forget a card that's in this particular format.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Breath progresses to the final of this, again, test, warm-up, show match, tournament. We're having this tournament today to make sure that everything's working for the main event. They're playing for 1,000. Breath in the finals against Lovely Chuk. Yeah. So D2, this is where one of the casts is supposed to ask the other one, who do you think is going to win in this really stable format that we know so much about?
Don't ask me that. I think Breath wins because he put Lotheb in every deck.
That's my exact opinion as well. I think Lotheb's the thing that's going to swing it. You get an extra turn, right? It's a race to kill yourself. Lotheb says, I get an extra turn to kill myself.
Alright, we are going to go to a break, guys, and when we come back, we'll have the finals of our crazy show match. Don't go away.
Hey, 好评，好评，好评。 好评，哎，好评。为什么是我犯法术了呀？啊，为什么是？哎，好。我。我靠！我啊，大哥，给点面子啊！
算了算了，哈。
我靠，这也可以，这也可以。
再来一次，再来一次。那个人称吧，要是争口气呀！哦，有机会！再给他连一发，干掉他！争口气！来看分，对面，21点血30万，2个人爆，100人鸡蛋直接带走，这才是导演，太帅了！
我靠，大哥，我要死啊！火车就死了。有机会，有机会，还没见能赢。啊！啊！
Schnappi, das kleine Krokodil, komm aus Ägypten, das liegt direkt am Nil.
这
Zuerst
是啥表白吧？我早知道先吃它了。
schnappte ich mich frei.
飞龙起来怎么说？解个盲，死亡技不切，你他妈跟咸鱼有什么区别啊？
傻子龙出来了！哎，好评，好评，好评，好评，哎，好评！为什么是我犯法术了呀？啊，为什么是？哎，好！我！我靠！我啊，大哥，给点面子啊！
可以，这也可以。
再来一次，再来一次。那个人称吧，要是争口气呀！哦，有机会！再给他连一发，干掉他！争口气！来看分，对面对面，21点选30万，2个人爆，100人气弹直接带走，这才是导演，太帅了！
我靠，大哥，我要死啊！火车就死了。有机会，有机会，还没见能赢。
Schnappi, das kleine Krokodil, komm aus Ägypten, das liegt direkt am Nil.
这是啥表白？我早知道先吃它了。
schnappte ich mich frei.
飞龙起来怎么说？解个盲，死亡记不起来，你他妈跟咸鱼有什么区别啊 ？OK。来不及了，对不起。
龙子集结，原子节，哈，有没有吓傻？
忍一脚。来吧，表哥们，闪亮登场！再来，来起来！
看一下，8加4 12，12加2 10，12加2 14，14加4 13。再见，再见。What？
打得不错。
我清早起床睡意浓，睡眼尚迷蒙。我忽然想起今日是假日好时光。
你妹的！我靠！不是你这个蠢逼！我靠！你倒是睡一下！哇，这什么鬼？我靠！这么科学，这么科学！我刚才手里面是没有手牌的。啊！这地方我输的真的是，老子这是这个狗了。
你这个爆发有点高啊！不可能吧？妈的，趁着火创力在离后火能砸死？不现实。
抱歉。
可能的话上回去打的。
对尖。
大你。
很不错。
变了！变了你还不死啊！我操，这 AV 呢呀这是！他只有一个机会，那就是大表哥啊！没事，我还有大表哥，我还有大表哥，不要怕。我就是力量的化身，哈哈哈哈哈！我有机会，12点血劈3脚就赢。好像你多。干嘛？你要干嘛？
You're muted, I believe.
I thought I pressed the unmute button. Anyway, welcome back to the Celestial Invitational NSL 2016 Hearthstone Masters. That is our full title. IMD2 with me is Lorinda. Lorinda, we're in the finals of our show match slash test broadcast. How are you feeling about it?
Wow.
So
I'm loving this. I'm actually genuinely finding this hilarious. It's good to see the work they've put in. They've taken it seriously. They've got some good decks together. They've obviously thought about the meta game to some degree. And it's crazy. I mean, what could you want? Good players being crazy at Hearthstone.
And I think we generally, as okay, there's music running in my ear. Okay, problems still happening. Okay, random epic music in my ears for some reason, but that's gone away. But yeah, I think that the two best players have genuinely, or not the two best players, but the two players who have done the best in preparing for this have advanced to the finals here. Breath, obviously, with the Loatheb inclusion, that seems so obvious in retrospect, but you know, starting out the day, you're like, what is the Loatheb for? It's like, oh, stopping every combo ever. And on the side of Lovely Juke, he was able to put together a few combos of his own that seemed just slightly better than Jason Joe's there. However, neither of them can say that they killed themselves on turn 7, which is what we saw from Jongbo earlier in the day.
Right, at the first game there, when Jongbo killed himself with the Warlock, with the Pit Lords and stuff, I thought that maybe he'd put in the most work of everybody, but that Paladin deck, now we've seen all of the decks, it did seem like it was probably the worst deck out of the 12 that anybody brought. It just seemed like it's such a slow, convoluted combo that it was going to be very hard to get that going.
Yeah, it looked like a 2-turn combo, which is really never going to work in this situation, especially since your opponent probably has ways to kill off his own stuff. But yeah, what we're going to see here, we have, I believe, Rogue on both sides. Okay, here's the epic music. And I'm not going to talk over this one.
NSL 炉石国际大师赛正喊开启，12位国内外炉石。
Alright, I've been instructed to mute this part because it gets a bit confusing hearing me talk over the Chinese person, but basically 12 players, 8 from the West and 4 from China, and they're placed in 2 groups of 6, and every single match is worth $1,000. They're best of 17 match between the 2 players, and there's 6 matches a week. There's going to be 4 from Tuesday through Friday, and then 2 on Saturday. And they start at 4 a.m. Pacific time and 1 p.m. Europe time, Central European time. But on Saturday, we start 3 hours earlier than that because there's going to be 2 matches. And as you can see on the screen, the format changes from week to week. The 4 formats, I think 4 of them are Last Hero Standing, and 1 of them is Conquest. And there's standard, there's wild, you know, without Nax, there's wild without GVG, so all sorts of formats out there, and the players each week will have to, you know, do their best as far as deck building is concerned in order to defeat their opponent. And I was about to mention earlier, the top 4 players, top 2 from each group, move on to the playoffs, where they will play for $30,000. So there's a lot of money to be split among just 4 players. So pretty big tournament, and excited to have all these big names out there. And I think that's it for the explanation. This graphic's still going, but Lorna, anything you want to add?
I just love the space rocket in this graphic. That's important at this point to recognize how amazing that space rocket is at the start.
I'm trying to determine which cartoon figure is which player. I think I saw one with a really big forehead, so we know who that one is, but everything else...
Right.
Everything
and there was a girl, there was a female player, so that's probably fairly easy to connect as well.
Unless we have some... cosplay going on, I'm not sure.
But only shirtless. That's what I need to know as well.
Would that be Live Coach or Dog?
Wow. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Well, because Live Coach used to stream without his shirt on until he didn't. So, anyway, I didn't mention that the entire tournament together is $60,000. And so, yeah, $30,000 for the regular season, $30,000 for the playoffs later on. But we're getting into the finals of our Suicide Series. First to kill themselves wins. And both players are playing the Jiraxis Kill Yourself with Sacrificial Pact deck. But they have different ways of going about it. Lovely Chook has a more guaranteed way of getting Jiraxis Sacrificial Pact on turn 9. Whereas Breath has more combo pieces in the deck that allows him to kind of circumvent the opponent. Loatheb can stop the opponent from doing it. And things like the summoning portal can get you to Jiraxis quicker.
And he has everything. He has summoning. Well, he doesn't have Loatheb, but he has summoning portal, Emperor, Jiraxis, and the Sacrificial Pact already. So if he gets Loatheb, he's almost guaranteed to win at this point. Already, that's something we can say.
Well, Lovely Chook does have the coin, so that's something to keep in mind. And he's going to get Jiraxis off of the Sense Demons. So if he holds onto the coin, and I can't imagine him meaning to use the coin, and then all he needs to have is Sacrificial Pact, and he can get it on turn 8. And part of the nice thing about Lovely Trick strategy is that he has all these stealth minions, which means he can kill off the summoning portal without needing to use mana. So there's nothing like, Loatheb in his summoning portal to mess him up.
Yeah, that's something I missed actually earlier. These minions do obviously have attack values, because attack values are they've been pretty useless things to have, attack values in this competition, but like you say, they will actually be able to take down this summoning portal and buy him a turn. And so they're not completely hopeless here, and hard to see who it's favoured, but the Loatheb's going to be important if Breath's to win this, I think. Emperor's going to speed him up a turn.
The one thing for Lovely Chook, he can't use the coin at any point, so he wants to just get as much stuff out onto the field as much as possible. But yeah, like you mentioned, Emperor's going to speed this up, and that means that now all of a sudden Lovely Chook's on some sort of a clock, and I don't believe he has Loatheb in his own deck.
Yeah, we didn't see a Loatheb first time around. We saw him play 2 games, and I think they both went pretty deep. So it is looking, and he knows it, like he's in trouble here. And so between Emperor and Loatheb, actually, Breath has 2 cards in his deck, which is, you expect War Axe to be in people's opening hands. So 2 cards is a lot of cards. Like 2 ways by turn 7 to just almost make sure he wins this mirror. And it looks like that's going to pay off for him at the moment.
Winning the Suicide Jirax's Sacrificial Pact mirror. By the way, I'm a bit alarmed that we have already gotten really good at analyzing this. I feel like that shouldn't be a thing.
I mean, it's a test stream in more ways than one. Like, we have 6 or 7 weeks of having to get used to analysing things quickly. So it needs to be a thing. I'm happy. I'm comfortable with this situation. It just shows how you have to adapt quickly. But, if we're learning how quickly we're learning what the decks are, think how quickly these guys had to build up a meta game.
And by the way, Breath on turn 7 just passes turn immediately, gives him a nice hello. Meow from Golden. I'm not used to that every single day, but there we go. Breath takes game number 1. Successfully Subaru'd.
Yep, our world is still doomed. And if we see much more of this, I'm not surprised. This is fantastic stuff. Really well worked out by Breath. I think that's we knew that Warlock was probably going to be the best class, but I think that's the best build of the best class, give or take.
Right, and
definitely the best one we've seen.
That's the first time we've seen that mirror as well. And throughout this day, we've seen, kind of a race of sorts, right? The Jiraxis, the Warlock player tries to kill himself by getting to that combo, and there's other sort of combos out there, like the one we saw with Jongbo. But this is the first time where we saw the exact same thing going off against each other. So a bit anticlimactic, I have to say, but we're not going to see that mirror here from here on out. So going to be more races to come.
Yeah, so at some point, Lovely Chook will almost certainly get a win with his Warlock, because it just seems to be the best class. We know that Rogue can self-mill pretty rapidly, so it's possible that Breath will take down that 2-0. And then it becomes difficult. The Druid deck is okay, but it's definitely a lot slower than the other two.
I think we saw Jason Joe. What was the fastest that we saw a Rogue kill herself with mill?
It was definitely 8. I don't know if it was with a coin or without.
Yeah, it was something like 8. So it's actually possible for Breath to kill himself. He does have less tools than some of the other players. Like, for instance, when we saw Jason Joe go off against Lovely Chook, we were thinking, oh, why does Jason Joe have the Collate Oracles, right? Because if you play in a mirror situation, then you'd rather not have the Collate Oracles, because you're not really helping yourself, right? It's like the same thing on both sides. But in this situation, Breath would be much better off just having the Cold Light so he can get through to what he needs to get to as quickly as possible.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, like you say, the extra little bits of tech, so useful in this deck. So just one sec.
Oh yeah, I saw the same comment in the chat.
Yeah, just going through chat. It is a test day, so I don't mind admitting I was just looking at how to adjust my mic volume there so we're on the same level, because we're going to need that for the rest of the week. And at this exact point, I just dare not touch anything, because things at my end are working for the first time today.
Right, we had a bit of a struggle at the beginning of the stream when the
application's hijacking things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, back to the issue at hand. So we want to turn for no Jiraxis yet, or
No, well, the Sense Demon's guaranteed pulls it out, so I'm kind of baffled as to why he drew a card first. Wouldn't you want to get Jiraxis in your hand before
Yes,
drew for the Sacrificial Pact? So this seems like a slight
definitely an ordering misplay. You do want to thin your deck out as much as possible to draw for the Sacrificial Pact. I think it's just a misplay.
All right.
We're calling misplays, D2, about people playing Kill Yourself Hearthstone.
Hey, you gotta play for as well as you can. You're playing for $1,000. I don't want to be.
Oh, and now he's going to overdraw. Maybe this was on his mind at the time.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, I don't think it makes a difference though for that particular.
It doesn't for the ordering, but yeah. Anyway, Breath is starting to get bits together to do a huge self-mill. He will know that turn 9 is the magic number, so he can plan around that. It's going to be very hard for Lovely Chook to really do anything other than that. That's kind of the problem playing with it, is your opponent can plan exactly for what they're trying to beat.
Ooh, this is huge. Okay, Hellfire. Sacrifice. There's presumably only, 2 Sacrificial Packs in the deck, so getting rid of either of them would have been huge there, but does not. So Lovely Chook's going to want to just get rid of, just dump his hand as much as possible here. And the question is, would you Soulfire? I guess you don't really need to. But he's gonna play the Dark Bomb so that there's less chance of Cold Light shenanigans.
I'm just still fairly stunned at the fact that guys have brought these minions to dump on the board, knowing that Cold Light's going to be a part of the metagame. Because especially with Lovely Chook, he's not even playing Rogue himself, but he knew it was something he was going to have to beat.
Wait, you're confused about playing minions?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's not obvious that you would bring a load of minions to dump on the board to keep your hand empty.
Right.
It's not obvious your hand's going to fill up with clunk all the time, but it is, and these guys have done well to like establish that part of the metagame early. Just I'm not confused by it, I'm just amazed that they've built these decks so quickly with that in mind. Because Lovely Chook's not playing Rogue, so it's not like he's forgotten Rogue was a thing. He, for whatever reason, just didn't think it was fast enough.
Well, Lovely Chook's gonna still try his hardest in order to pick a Sacrificial Pack. Doesn't pick it up, but he picks up 2 things that he can just shove onto the board. He's not too much danger of overdrawing. But here comes the Gadgets in to start Brett's own sort of mill here.
Yeah, and he has to put the Cold Blood on his own minion. He's just taking a second to make sure that this isn't going to lead to an accident. But against the Warlock, you can pretty much do what you like with those Cold Bloods. Obviously, they're there to put on your opponent's minions. Well, they're there to cycle, but they're there to put on your opponent's minions for the most part, as we saw earlier when he kept it against the Warrior.
Oh,
or whatever he kept it against the Priest.
You know what? Breath hasn't seen Shadowflame this entire time, but he casted Lovely Chook's game. So he was looking out for that. While he was casting his game, he was looking out for if there was Shadowflame. So I was wondering why he didn't just stealth it, but looks like he's,
yeah,
he's concerned about the Shadowflame, which you do see there's 2 in Lovely Chook's hand.
Awesome. Now, they did cast each other's games. I think that was a really funny idea and a really good idea as well, just to get the players completely involved in the setup for this tournament. These are the 4 Chinese players that are in the league, I believe. So, these are guys you will see time and again. Obviously, you're going to see Breath at BlizzCon as well. So, if you're going to be watching BlizzCon later in the year, then definitely a player you should be getting accustomed to.
Oh, well, here comes the Conceal on the Gadgetson. He knows that there might be some sort of Shadowflame, but at this point he's not too concerned about it. Still no Sacrificial Pact in Lovely Chook's hand. Breath probably feels like he's on the clock, but he isn't quite yet.
Yeah, and he knows the clock, right? He knows what it is. He knows there's a Jiraxis in hand. Of course, there's a Sense Demon's cast.
I wonder if he commits to like a prep and a fan here. He would overdraw, but this might be his best chance to just get those 2, just cycle those 2 cards right now. He isn't really close to getting himself.
So he hasn't got any of the real key pieces, obviously. Well, the only problem he'll have is his hand's kind of expensive right now. So if he gets stuck with these cards, he'll be looking for... the cards he burns are probably going to be cheaper. If he just pick up that Conceal, which could be crucial next turn.
Still no Sacrificial Pact, by the way.
Still no Sac Pact. So Breath thinks he has to win next turn. So we may see him do desperation moves, but he may have to just suck it up and hope that he's not dead next turn.
Yeah, at this point I feel like he really has no opportunity to kill himself next turn, so he's just gonna have to hope and cross his fingers like I mentioned.
我的手牌已经满了。
Sorry, I was looking away for a second. Did you catch what he discarded there?
I didn't, I'm afraid. I'm also trying to interact with chat and keep everybody at it, as this is the test stream, so I'm trying to keep everybody not only casting it, but also get everybody ready for the rest of the week as well. So
Well,
I didn't catch what was discarded, but it wasn't the sack pact, or he would have conceded.
There's nothing really in... Well, it was Breath that discarded. So there's nothing from Breath's deck like Sack Pack where it's, you know, absolutely devastating.
Yeah, he just wants the cheapest stuff as possible, but now he does need to pick up the Auctioneer, which he needs to play the Auctioneer. Yeah, he thinks he's lethal next turn, so he's playing Lotheb now.
Oh, wow. So this is actually going to work out pretty poorly for Breath. He thinks that he might have just saved himself with this Lotheb, but doesn't have any... I think that was a bit premature, honestly, because how does he kill himself next turn?
I think... I see what you mean, yeah. If you can't kill yourself next turn, then you absolutely have to...
You have to wait. Yeah, you can't just... Yeah.
You absolutely have to wait and hope, but because there's no point giving your opponent the extra card, which is what he's now done. But maybe he could only win over 2 turns involving the Auctioneer anyway, so even though he can't kill himself, he does still have to play the Auctioneer next turn with the Conceal. So he has to Lotheb the turn before that.
Yeah, that's true. I think even though Lovely Trick has gone through his entire deck basically and still hasn't drawn Sacrificial Pact, I still think he's going to just get there.
Yeah, you feel that. I mean, it's what it's less than 1 in 6 or 1 in 6 chance. So,
although wait,
Brett is winning though. Brett has got 1 more turn. He'll win next turn if he's not dead.
No, but Lovely Trick can Shadowflame. Is the thing.
Right, but there's Cold Light Oracle. That should be enough. He's taking 3 already. He'll be able to play 2 more spells this turn, which will be 5, and then Cold Light Oracle will be 6, 7, plus his draw is 8. Yeah, he's dead next turn. So Lovely Trick does need to draw it right now.
And he can't tap for it. Wow.
Doesn't draw it. He can play Zombie Chow. Is that relevant? No, it's 21 he's looking at, I believe. 6, 7, and 8.
Breath is looking up, he's like, really? Really? You've gone through like 26 cards in your deck and you haven't drawn a single Sack Pact. He knows that he has Jiraxis because he played Sun Stevens. He's gone through 26 cards or so, something like that, and he hasn't drawn a single Sacrificial Pact. And he didn't mill it either. He didn't... Wow. This is...
Can he tap here to try and get another Zombie
Chow?
By the way,
I got the number perfect there, by the way. It's 24 left, but...
Nice.
Can he kill
Okay.
himself? Wait, does he have lethal otherwise?
Does he have a draw or something?
Maybe.
Is there something...
Huh.
Play Zombie Chow first, right?
Well, he needs to kill himself now, or else it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is not gonna work.
Okay, yeah, I think you were seeing how close he could get, or with cards or something. Maybe he was trying to work out, can I get myself close enough to fatigue that Cold Light would be a draw?
And Breath is sitting there shaking his head. He's like, I didn't see any Sacrificial Pacts. I guess sometimes lucky, right? My opponent went through 26 cards and didn't draw a Sacrificial Pact. He knows Jiraxis is in his hand because since Demons was played, there's no other demon, so... Yeah.
Okay, so 2-0, but now Breath does have to find the win with the Druid. I was wrong earlier, by the way. Lovely Chook, as has been pointed out, is playing Rogue, according to the caption. So it was Jason Zhao that was playing the non-Rogue lineup. So Druid is the slowest one. Warlock, you'd expect to beat it. You'd also expect Rogue to beat it. So it may come down to a Druid mirror, even though it's 2-0.
Yeah, Druid seems to be the weakest deck in this format. It kind of relies on getting Major Domo, killing your own Major Domo, and then finding 8 damage for your own face, which is harder than it seems.
Yeah, because it's usually... Probably, it's like Living Roots plus Starfire or Malygos plus 2 Moonfires or 2 cards. So 8's actually a really awkward number, it turns out, to do to yourself. It's pretty easy for your opponent to do, so there's no point running it in real games.
Also, Breath is already kind of smiling. He's like, oh yeah, it's just the Blood Mage Thanos in his hand already trolling him. Like, oh yeah, that was the card that I put in my deck that messed up my Barnes combo.
What I really want to see is him play Barnes and think he's got it this time, and then have the Novice Engineer come out.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure he actually made the connection when he drew the Novice Engineer that there's another card that can ruin his combo as well.
He's like, I got it this time. What? No.
So I'm praying for Barnes to come out here. And this again, though, is a sign that I think Brett's put a little bit more time in than possibly the other three. The Barnes we haven't seen from anybody, and when you see it, Barnes with Major Domo is really obvious. I wouldn't have thought of it, but the second it happens and you see it, it's like, oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, and there's so many extra spaces in all these exit seams that it just seems like a pretty innocuous thing to put in there.
It looks like we've got the Druid spectator bug there for Breath. He drew a card that never appeared, but there's no panic from the admins. They're just getting on with reloading the hand for us. And Lovely Chook now has to do the thing that rogues do in this format, which is draw enough cards that they can kill themselves.
Yeah, it seems like something that would take a long time to do, but you've seen turn 8 rogue self-lethal, so it's certainly possible. And in fact, it's much better than the rogue typically kills himself in this matchup faster than the druid can do anything about it. And by the way, Tree of Life. Oh, that was probably the card off of the Raven Idol, huh?
Yeah, should imagine so. Okay.
Continuing to cycle is Lovely Chick. This is kind of not the dream hand, but you want a hand like this for Lovely Chick. You want something a lot less clunky than he's had in the past.
Yes. Yeah, he's got everything here required, apart from obviously the Auctioneer to make this work. And meanwhile, Breath is accumulating his damage in his hand. He does have the lethal when he gets the Major Domo now. With the Starfire and the Moonfires and the Living Roots, he's got easy lethal, so he can concentrate on survival until he picks up the final bit of the combo now.
Right, but he does need to kill off his own Major Domo as well, so he needs Naturalized plus Major Domo.
Tree of Life's actually spectacular, by the way. Like, just really, really good. Because Rogue probably go off about turn 8 or 9 for the final piece. Here's Barn.
Does he get it off? Nope. Never made
that
it
was
up.
also, if he hits that was also a win. And it does make you wonder, actually, if they should be playing so much minion-based card draw in this deck, because Barnes into Major Domo just seems incredibly good.
Right. It's just, that's actually a really good point to pick up, because Naturalize is another card that he needed, like I mentioned earlier, and now he was able to just Moonfire that potentially, so yeah.
Yeah.
That was potentially lethal right there. I think it was 50-50 there.
I think it was. It might have been 1 in 3 if he's playing 2 Novice, but
well, he might have Malagos as well.
Okay, sure. Although Malagos there is close to a victory, like really close.
Malagos is going to go ahead. Oh yeah, that's true. There's a lot of damage from Malagos anyway. So Lovely J is just gonna beef up this Barnes as much as possible and take, how much damage is this? 15? That's a lot of damage.
It is, but your opponent's got Tree of Life on turn 9. Can you beat yourself up before your opponent just heals you back?
Well, he doesn't know he has Tree of Life, so.
No, I know, but so that's the thing. He's not going to race it, and Breath will be able to heal back up if he can get rid of this Barnes, but he's going to have to because crazy things are happening right now.
Well, the nice thing for Breath here is that, or excuse me, nice thing for Lovely Chook is that Breath, he needs to use damage on his own Barnes that prevents him from killing himself. Oh,
although, we can see that it doesn't, but Lovely Chook thinks it does, yeah.
Right. And he does pick up the Major Domo, so all he needs right now is Naturalize. Breath could do something like Innervate, Healing Touch his opponent's face, but I don't know if it's super necessary.
I think you probably do, because
you don't need the mana anyway, right? You can't go
double if you see one Eviscerate face. Yeah, you don't need the mana anyway. It's not for anything else. You're right. Good call.
You can't Major Domo, Naturalize, Starfire, Living Roots, Moonfire, kill yourself anyway. So you might as well go ahead and do this.
And as I said earlier, it's not like they know each other's deck lists inside out and have massive instincts for it. It's best just to go, you know what? Let's not take this chance.
Ooh, but okay, this is pretty huge here. Lovely Chook has picked up the Gadgetzin, and he can do a lot of work with this.
Yeah, I mean, his hand is full of naught drops right now.
Oh,
his
this is perfect.
Is full
wow.
of cycle.
Wow. Prep into Fan, into another Gadgetzin.
My goodness. So he's going to be fine to go off incredibly soon for victory. He is now down to... Oh, he's not down there yet. He must be getting really close to 6 cards.
He's thinking about playing one of his ruminating spells, but I think you can wait. Next turn you can go Gadgetzin into something like Conceal, Shadow Step? Something like that. I guess you wouldn't Shadow Step then, but It's kind of confusing at this point. You need to draw as many cards as possible. Looks like he's gonna go for the second conceal and just kind of go off next turn.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that conceal. If you're concealing the turn after, you're probably dead a lot of the time here. So I think you just have to innovate out. Oh, you don't really want to innovate anything here. You want to play this Tree of Life to give your opponent, make them have to mill as many cards as possible. They have to go 8 cards into fatigue from 30.
Yeah, Brett's just gonna hold on instead of doing anything right now. Sprint is the pickup.
6.
I think just going for
if he can draw 12 cards, he wins. Sorry, if you can do 12, yeah, if you can draw 12 cards, he wins. So can he do that?
He has 6
Auctioneer plus 6 spells, yeah.
There's 2 cards right now, and he
I'm
can.
assuming I've counted it correctly.
Right, and he has his dagger, so that's 4. So he needs to draw 3 more cards. Does he win?
I'm saying he's got this. I think he wins. Prep fan seems like it's just a win here to me.
Well, you can prep shiv his own face just to try to get a little bit more damage. It's not like he can use the 1 man anyway.
So now he's into fatigue.
And
yes!
Yeah. And
Caster spots lethal by player killing themselves.
Spot self-lethal. We've done it. Yeah, but
we got it in the end.
So Brett knew that there was a prep in the hand, so the prep from there is 2 more cards, and then the shiv on the own face is 3 cards because of the 2 from Gaddison and the shiv. So you got on to 17. He's already in fatigue. That's 15? Or am I counting this wrong? Well, Brett couldn't win anyway, right? Because even
he couldn't win. No, it's over definitely.
Because he couldn't Major Domo naturalize and then kill himself afterward anyway. So Brett knew it was over.
Yeah.
Even if there was a Tree of Life, it would have just been okay. You sprint the next turn and then you.
Yeah, it just goes crazy.
Cards.
Then it's 7, 8, 9, 10 is a lot of numbers.
Lots of numbers
34.
indeed. All right, so LovelyChick has taken 1 game back, and this is another favorite matchup, I would say, unless Barnes pulls the 1 in 3 or 4.
Yeah, we think it's 1 in 3 or 4. It's Blood Mage plus at least 1 Novice Engineer, maybe 2. And if he does hit the right thing, I mean, it's just game over. Well, it's not quite, but near enough. And it's great. I'm just giggling to myself there about us talking about favoured matchups, having watched 12 games of this format. But it's quite clearly a favoured matchup for the Warlock.
I think it's even more cut and dried as far as which matchups are favored in this sort of thing, because it's just like who killed them faster. One killed itself on turn 8, one killed itself on turn 9, one killed itself on turn 7. It's like, well, the one who did the first is the better deck, I would say.
Yeah, and they're all drawing enough cards that you can reasonably assume that that's going to be a regular occurrence. You know, we can't say exactly how often they draw the exact combo or how often they lose the stack pack. Can he do it this time?
Oh, he got the Major Domo!
Got there! And there's no silence, I don't think, in Chuk's deck, and he knows he's in real trouble now. And look at this hand from Breath as well. He can actually just get to 6 mana and Starfire Living Roots himself in the face on turn 7.
As much as we're, this is a show match and we're having fun, that could be $1,000 Major Domo right there. That Major Domo is worth $1,000 in Brett's pocket. So
yeah.
Yes.
So Breath does have to find a way to kill this, otherwise he's going to actually not be able to kill himself quite as quickly as he would like. Because if he uses up the Starfire, then he will no longer be able to do that 1 point of damage to his own face. But this looks like he's picked up a Moonfire there. And he has.
Okay, so
and that means that he has lethal in next turn.
He has lethal in 2 turns, which is good enough against LovelyChick, because there's no way for LovelyChick to win before turn 9. There's no...
Yeah, it's next turn, because it's Starfire, Coin, Living Roots.
Well, that's just 7, though. Oh, he can...
Oh, he has to play the Blood Mage first, okay.
Right.
Sure.
And the Blood Mage could die. And Breath is disconnecting. Maybe this is the one way that LovelyChick can win, if there's a disconnect.
Wow. I mean... okay.
Okay, it looks like we're getting back in the game.
They've switched views to make it work. And yeah, so he is going to have to just take a little bit of time. But he knows how much time he has. That's the thing. So.
Yeah, there's really no way for LovelyChick to do anything about this. He's actually even using his hero power. So yeah, he's just going for the extra mana. He knows he has it next turn. All he has to do... He's preventing his opponent from potentially healing himself, so he doesn't go for like the Living Roots or Starfire this turn. And yeah, now with this extra mana, Blood Mage, Starfire, and Living is going to be enough. The BM, Hero Power, Die Insect. Although, wait a second. Lovely Chook, is there a possible way for him to kill himself? No.
I was wondering if he had enough, like, if that BM was slightly risky, but with all those soul fires. But no, we're going to see self-lethal in the final from BlizzCon competitor Breath, showing once again why he's really good at Hearthstone. Well, something like that. But really, this was awesome. I enjoyed every minute of this very silly test match, and it was very silly for us, but that's $1,000 for Breath, just showing that this company, yeah, this is going to be a very serious event when it kicks off.
Yep, he is the best Sudoku player out there.
What do you even make of that, D2? Did you enjoy that as much as I definitely did?
That was fun. It showed pretty good deck building skills, I would say. It just came down to the extra tech cards in there. Breath playing Lotheb to... look how many games he won with Lotheb. There were so many times where I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, I guess Jumbo wins. I guess Lovely Chook wins. But it's like, nope, it's going to be Lotheb. And by the way, this is what we were talking about earlier. Here are our groups. And that's going to be Breath, Jongbo, I believe that's Eloise. Is the next one? I've never actually seen her name in Chinese. Life Coach, RDU, and Sixo. And in Group B, it's going to be Jason Joe from E-Star, Lovely Chook, Kalento, Tice, Rained, and Dog. So it's going to be round robin. This all starts tomorrow at 4 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Central European time. And if you guys don't want to wake up that early, you can catch the rebroadcast every single day. But yeah, it goes from Tuesday through Friday, and then Saturday starts 3 hours earlier because there's going to be 2 matches. Every single match is a best of 17 worth $1,000 each, so $30,000, excuse me, to be split up during the regular season. And the top 2 players from each group advance on, where they will play for $30,000 in the playoffs. So really cool format. I forgot to mention that each week the format changes and they're going to have different cards to choose from. So going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, big shout out obviously to Twitch and for Tempo Storm for letting us do this, giving us the availability to do this for us. So, keep an eye, help those guys out, look at Twitch Prime, all the good stuff to help Twitch out, and give Tempo Storm a thanks on Twitter. Let them know you're enjoying this. If you are enjoying it, if you're not, come back tomorrow, you'll enjoy it then instead.
Yeah, guys, go get that Toronto skin and help Twitch out, because they are the ones sponsoring us. We're very thankful. Without them, we wouldn't be doing this tournament. We wouldn't be doing the English broadcast. So huge thanks to them, obviously. But yeah, I think
this is
probably wrapping up
good
here
fun.
soon. I imagine there's not going to be any sort of trophy presentation or some sort of ceremony for this show match, but
yeah, if there is, it'll be very memey and worth seeing. But yeah, tomorrow, best of 17. It's not kill yourself. It's a I think they're starting off fairly lightweight this week, getting us into the players, and then we start having all sorts of wild formats with band sets and stuff like that.
This week, hold on, let me double check that for you. This week is last hero standing plus standard, so yeah, pretty straightforward. So a lot of.
So this week you get to know your players, playing stuff that you know. Then it progressively gets it's not ridiculous like today's stuff. It's going to be last hero standing without Nax, last hero standing without GVG, those sort of formats. And then the last week is going to be standard, I believe, but also by then, who knows? We're getting on towards BlizzCon as usually announcements. Maybe not. There'll be new sets, or it'll be the very last time we see those, depending on how late the next set comes out. So good time to have standard one way or the other.
I'm not sure what we're doing right now. There was epic music going over your voice, Linda, in case you weren't aware.
I'm not aware of the sounds. I have them all turned off apart from, so I can hear you perfectly what's going on.
Oh, did we just end the stream? Okay, so it looks like the stream has ended, guys. And yeah, so that means we're done as well. Just to let you know, the schedule for this week, tomorrow is going to be Breath versus Sixo. So the player you just saw win this versus Sixo. Tice versus Reina on the 19th. The next day is going to be Jungle versus Life Coach. Jason Joe versus Dog the next day. And on Saturday, it'll be RDU versus Eloise, followed by Kalento versus Lovely Chook. So again, thank you very much to Tempo Storm and Twitch most of all for helping us out. And we're going to get out of here. Lorinda, anything you want to say before we get out?
No, nothing. Come tomorrow, watch this, more fun Hearthstone.
Alright, cool. See you guys tomorrow, and we're going to run a rebroadcast right now just so I get used to running rebroadcasts, but, for my sake and your sake, but if you just tuned in, then we're going to have replay of what you just saw, so stick around. Bye-bye.